I fell in love with my late best friend's husband, but my friend can't accept it.
I don't think I can accept it either. You don't do that.
There's too many adjectives to this.
Don't date your late best friend's husband.
She would want it.
Don't do that.
She would want it for both of you.
Hello, everyone. English is not my native language, so I apologize in advance for any mistakes I may make. I, 32 female, fell in love with my late best friend's husband, 36 male, this summer. Ooh, it sounds like it sounds terrible, but please let me explain. But first, a little backstory. And yes, prepare yourself to stay here for a while.
Here I am, baby.
Freeze.
By the way, this comes from Intelligent Chain 87 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my late best friend, let's call her Amber, and I had known each other since elementary school. When I moved to middle school, I met another friend, let's call her Ursula. Ursula and Amber were already best friends by the time I met Ursula. So I became the third in the group. 2 years before the end of high school, Ursula moved to another city, which brought Amber and me even closer.
Yeah, did she move under the sea?
Boo.
She's going to be the villain, right? That's got to be the villain. That's the bad guy in the story.
Yes, that's the name. Come on. We witnessed the beginnings of our relationships with our future husbands. Both of us started dating our future husbands around the same year, and both were in long-distance relationships. My husband, then boyfriend, let's call him Adam, was studying in another city, and her husband, then boyfriend, let's call him Thomas, was studying in another country. We supported each other, even through our own friendships, was also long distance since we were studying in different countries. I was in our home country, and she was in a neighboring one. I lost touch with Ursula for a while, but after we graduated from university, the three of us were together again in our hometown, along with our then boyfriends, later husbands. Ursula's husband, let's call him Patrick, also dated her since school. Right after graduating, Thomas proposed to Amber. And a few months later, Patrick and Ursula got engaged. And a half a year later, Adam proposed to me, and we all celebrated our weddings the same year. Everyone was happy.
And is this right out of high school or right out of college?
Out of college, it looks like.
Out
At university.
of college, yeah.
Okay.
Ain't that just the way?
I wonder who is getting married.
And they
next.
lived happily ever after, and nothing else happened. The end.
Chad, who's getting married next out of the three of us? And why is it me?
What?
What, you got something up your sleeve, dog?
Nope.
He's gonna call Russia.
Nothing up my sleeve.
You're gonna get something mailed here?
Something
gonna show up at a doorstep in a
someone
few
might
days?
just fall right out of the sky.
From FedEx.
Yeah.
2 years later, Amber and Thomas decided to move to another country. In that same year, Adam and I moved to another city, while Ursula and Patrick stayed in our hometown and had a beautiful child. For context, our husbands weren't best friends and didn't really hang out outside of our group meetings, but they could have fun when we were all together. Given that, it's important to understand that when we all moved to different places, our communication was long distance again. Our husbands saw each other about once a year, just like we did, since it's hard for married couples to gather. I was more friends with Patrick than with Thomas because when Amber and Thomas moved abroad and we hadn't yet moved to another city, I would often visit Ursula and Patrick at their home. Thomas and I had plenty to talk about. We could laugh heartily and congratulate each other on holidays, but we weren't particularly close. Okay, who is OP about to get with? Right now, she's with Adam. Is she going to get with Thomas?
Hey, yep.
Or
There's a couple of options.
Yeah.
Patrick?
I don't think it's going to be with Patrick. I think it'll
She just
probably
said-
be Thomas.
Thomas and I, yeah. But she would often visit Patrick.
But Ursula was like not really. I don't feel like she was as tight with Ursula.
Yeah, but no. Who is she about? She's going to leave her husband. Who's she going to go with? We'll just predict it.
I think there's no way Ursula and Patrick are perfect for each other because they're both sea creatures. You have Ursula, the octopus lady, and then Patrick Star.
But Ursula may die.
No.
There's a friend that's going to die. It's either Amber or Ursula.
Whoa, come on. This is
No.
we don't
That's
want
not going to
that.
happen.
No, don't do that.
What
That's
makes
the
you think that's
title.
going to happen?
I know I tell you to
We forget the title, right?
I'm sorry.
What's the title?
I just want to predict, and I want people to be like, hey, I voted for this, and I was right.
I'm voting Thomas.
Thomas.
Tomas.
I am voting
Well,
Thomas as well.
Are you doubting Thomas?
I'm not downing
Did you see
Thomas.
what I did there?
I did see what you did there.
Yes.
That was clever.
Biblical reference.
Another 2 years later, I went through a very dark period. My husband passed. I had a miscarriage from the stress, and I almost lost my parents. Though thankfully, they're okay now. The final blow came a few months later when we were informed that Amber and her child passed during childbirth. Oh no.
God.
It was a true shock.
Oof.
4 terrible events in a year, 3 of which devastated me so much that I could barely function. The last time I saw Thomas was at Amber's funeral. I don't remember much because I was just existing, not living. Oh.
Yeah, that's a whole tsunami tidal wave of badness. And it makes sense there's probably a trauma bond going on here.
A year after Amber's funeral, with the help of family and friends, I finally decided to go to therapy because my parents lived in constant fear that I would follow my husband and friend. I love my parents deeply and didn't want to cause them pain, so I agreed to therapy. I didn't believe it would help, but after another year, I embarked on a solo journey to rediscover myself.
I made a little noise. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I thought you were about to laugh.
No, it wasn't a laugh. I was just, that was my sinuses.
Okay.
It wasn't a laugh. I'm not laughing right now.
Why are you
Okay,
smiling?
I'm not, okay.
Stop smiling.
Okay. It's worth mentioning that when Amber and my husband were still alive, Adam and I visited Amber and Thomas in their country, where we met their local friends and became close friends with them. 2 of Amber's local friends, Elizabeth and Sasha, supported me and Ursula after Amber's passing, and I set out on my solo trip. I stayed with them along the way. I didn't see Thomas at the time, nor did I want to, as we would have just reminded each other of the pain of loss. That's how I started my new life, with travel and rediscovering myself in my new situation. I was still crying at night, but I felt the pain slowly settling somewhere deep. Of course, it will never go away completely, but I learned to live with it, to live again, to be happy, to have fun, to make friends, to love again. Another year later, I dared to go on my first date. So this is after 3 years after her husband passed. Yeah. And after another year, I started a relationship with a colleague. Let's call him Neil. Unfortunately, our relationship wasn't as rosy as it seemed. At first, I didn't notice the red flags, but once I did, I broke it off immediately. Let's go grow.
That's what we do when we see red flags. Yes.
The relationship lasted for almost 6 months. This brings us to June of this year. So about 3.5 years later,
Okay.
after the passing. Elizabeth, Amber's friend from abroad, suggested we take a tour through Italy. After checking our schedules and finances, we booked the dates for about a week at the end of July and the beginning of August. A week later, she informed me that Sasha, the other friend, and their husbands wanted to join us. We were thrilled. The more, the merrier. In early July, a couple of weeks before the trip, I went back to my hometown to visit my parents and relatives. That day, I was walking to my grandmother's house and stopped by the supermarket to pick up something for dessert. Imagine my surprise when someone tapped me on the shoulder, and when I turned around, I saw Thomas.
Smile.
Yep, she was looking for cake, and he was too.
So, enough time has gone by where maybe this isn't what
3.5
I
years.
thought it would be.
3.5 years, OP has processed as much as she could. It still hurts her. She's in a way better place now.
Just a crazy set of circumstances, though, for real.
It's
Absolutely.
wild, but that's unfortunately, that's sometimes how the way life works.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you gotta roll with the punches, and then you can't
Like-
you can't be stationary.
Like Little Uzi Vert says, life goes on.
I'm pretty sure that's okay.
There's a lot more people who have said life goes on.
He made a song about it.
There's another person who made
Yeah.
a song about it.
Honestly, I felt a whirlwind of emotions that were hard to understand at first. There was a joy from seeing him, pain from the reminder of the past, and the awkwardness from the unexpected meeting. At first, I didn't recognize him, just as he didn't recognize me, as it turned out later. We exchanged bits of information about our new lives, and I learned that he was also visiting his parents. It felt like we were getting to know each other all over again. I was in a hurry to get to my grandmother's, so we quickly said our goodbyes, expressed how happy we were to see each other, and went our separate ways. I thought that would be the last time I saw him, but a couple of hours later, he messages me saying he was truly glad to see me and wouldn't mind meeting up again. Not just with me, but also with Ursula and Patrick. As you can understand, after Amber's tragic death, he cut ties with everyone close to her, even her parents, except for friends from the country where they lived and where he still lives. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's fair. That makes sense. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you could keep the constant reminder.
I don't know.
And stay, sane that way. I think you'd want to kind of be able to put yourself in a position to, at some point, move on.
Yeah.
But then, like, also reconnecting with OP is like that whole weird tale of positive and negative.
Wiener tail.
Yeah, it's wiener though. Can't say that word. Do you want us to get demonetized on all platforms?
No.
There we go. Ursula, like me, was surprised by Thomas's reappearance in our lives, but we agreed to his proposal to meet. The next day, we gathered at Ursula and Patrick's house. I swear, the first 2 hours of that meeting were painfully awkward and uncomfortable. Ursula and I tried to keep the conversation going, but the silence from Thomas was cutting through us. Then after 2 hours, once the booze had loosened Thomas's tongue, we were slowly sipping wine, he finally opened up to us and shared that he had come back to our hometown for a reason.
No way. No way.
Yes way.
He's not. He's not about to.
I thought this was a reason of like, he's on a side quest. That's why he's here. What's your reason?
Is he about to be like, it was for you. I had to see you.
All these years, he had just suppressed his pain, drowning it in work, sports, video games, and then he started partying and dating random women, barely seeing or talking to his friends and family. I had heard something like that, but never asked Elizabeth or Sasha for details. Earlier this year, he accidentally came across my Instagram. He had deleted Instagram right after the tragic events, and after restoring it, he created a new account and saw that I was in a happy, or it seemed from Instagram, relationship. He immediately felt inadequate considering we had gone through similar tragedies, but I had learned to live again while he was just burning through life, spending it mostly on work and random women and booze, his words. In a way, that was his wake-up call, and he realized he couldn't live like that anymore. Thomas started therapy, resumed full communication with friends, then with his sister and parents. Wow. So she kind of like brought him out of this. We don't know the reason why he's back, though.
We still don't.
Yeah.
But I guess that's good. A good influence. Normally, I say don't compare yourself to others, but in this one particular context, maybe it was a good wake-up call to be like, oh, maybe I should stop with the destructive behavioral loops, potentially. Or just like understanding that they are or have become destructive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes things that serve us earlier in our life, they don't serve us later.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize that and put them down.
Have to. The hardest part was finally acknowledging and accepting his feelings and emotions about the tragic loss of his beloved wife and their newborn child. He spent weeks visiting places that held special meaning to them and cried. Then he finally mustered up the courage to speak to and apologize to her parents, who had been like second parents to him. That's the main reason he came back to our hometown, was to apologize to his mother-in-law and father-in-law.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is good, to be clear. That's good. I was hoping it wasn't.
So he wasn't on a side quest. He was kind of on the main quest. Okay.
I guess, yeah.
That's the main quest.
I get it. I guess I'm just that guy who it's like, I guess actually that does make a lot of sense that I would think that.
Also, do you think you could start a company called Side Quest, and then people can hire you to be go to places around your city, and you can do side quests for people? You know how cool that'd be?
I think it needs to be main quest.
I want to say side quest. You're already doing main quest. You need a little side quest in your
But
life.
it's like it's time for a new main quest.
How about you do main quest? I'll do side quest.
Okay, yeah. The funnel. We are building the funnel right now.
Mm-hmm. I get people in with a side quest, and you get people in with a main quest, and then we.
And you charge them a one-time fee for the side quest, and we charge them a recurring fee for the main quest. So when they get distracted by the side quest, they're still paying for the main quest while they're doing the side quest. Okay, I know we didn't mean to do this, but we just taught you all an economics lesson, okay? Think about that.
Guys, we just became it. Okay, what do you want, Keon? What do you want out of this?
Happiness.
But unfortunately, he still hadn't been able to visit them. He had tried for 2 weeks, but each time he turned back halfway. We all cried. After calming down, he said he had planned to visit Ursula and Patrick, but didn't expect to see me. He even regretted suggesting the meeting, but was ultimately glad it happened. Ursula and I offered to go with him to visit Amber's parents, as we used to visit them often. On the appointed day, Ursula couldn't make it because her youngest son fell ill, so Thomas and I went alone. As soon as we walked through the doors, tears filled Amber's mother's eyes, and so did ours. Her parents weren't angry at all because they completely understood him.
Yeah.
We spent a very touching time together, crying and reminiscing about all the good memories with Amber, then laughing, then crying again, and so on, until midnight. After thanking Amber's parents and saying goodbye, Thomas offered to walk me home. On the way to my parents' house, we passed a tall building where teenagers used to love hanging out on the roof. He said he wanted to do something and needed my support one last time.
What do you mean by that?
I agreed, and we went up to the roof. There he pulled a letter out of his pocket, which turned out to be a farewell letter to Amber. I couldn't hold back my tears as he spoke aloud to the sky, the stars, and her. After reading the letter to the end, he burned it and scattered the ashes in the wind. We silently descended, and just as silently, he walked me home, where we said goodbye and went our separate ways. About a week later, he wrote to me again. He thanked me for my help and said how proud he was of me. I responded in kind. And then we stopped talking again for a few days, till I noticed that he had followed me back on Instagram. I followed him back, and a few hours later, he messaged me, "Is it true that you're going on a tour of Italy with my friends?" Bro's risen. But that was super cute. The whole letter and burning it into the sky.
I'm now
nice.
back on the track that it's too weird to date this guy now. You were there when he dictated the letter of his no longer with us wife and then burnt it. And I get that that's like probably like letting go and finding closure, but also like, I don't know, sharing that moment and sharing the moment of like going back to Amber's parents and all that. Like, I don't know. It would just feel it's just too much. It's beautiful that they did this.
It is pretty intimate.
Okay. I don't know. It just feels like intimate for the wrong reasons.
Let's
it feels
keep
like
going.
wires are just getting crossed.
We'll see. Noodles are touching. I replied that yes, I am going on a trip to Italy with your friends. He simply wished us a good trip since there was less than a week left before the tour. We continued to chat about various topics, and I started feeling like I used to a long time ago, when we laughed together over trivial things. A couple of days before the vacation, we had our first call and talked almost all night. As I mentioned before, it felt like we were getting to know each other all over again. And then the vacation date comes. The whole group met in Milan,
Italy.
and we drove to Naples. To our great surprise, Thomas meets us there. Okay, quick poll real quick. 1, creepy, 2, sweet.
Well,
creepy or like...
I don't want to influence the opinion, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm going to say what I think. I think if it was just her on the trip, creepy. I think because there's like more people there and there's more friends, it's less creepy. And also I did see the context that comes in like the next sentence and a half, so it's not quite as creepy. I don't know. I just think there's so much tied up in their previous partners that them being together might just feel like an extension of these partners who are no longer with us. And I don't think that's a good base to build a relationship off of.
Okay.
It just feels too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's touching, but like, I don't know.
It does feel a little bit too intimate. I don't know. Like, I don't need to see that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But everyone says
describe.
it's sweet. 79% of people are saying this is sweet. His uncle lived in Naples and had kindly offered us his house for a few days. All right.
Okay. Well, see. Well, that's cool. Right? Now that's cool.
Whether it was the magic of Italy or just the comfort we felt around each other. Thomas and I spent all those days together, talking, drinking, and laughing. We had 3 amazing days in Naples, followed by a day trip to Sicily and then 4 days in Florence. It was in Florence where something happened that has been haunting my consciousness. The married couples in our group grew tired of sightseeing by the 3rd evening in the city, but Thomas and I still wanted to explore. We went out for a walk near our hotel. After 2 hours, we grew tired and sat on a bench overlooking the Arno River.
Yes.
This was the first time during the trip that we had been alone together. The atmosphere of the evening led to a more intimate conversation. We shared our fears about relationships and talked about how our future partners might never fully understand that we would always love Amber and Adam. They had been the loves of our lives, and there would always be a place for them in our hearts. It's difficult to explain, but I think people who have experienced deep loss might understand. That night, I realized for the first time that I no longer saw Thomas as Amber's husband. He was simply himself, a man I had found myself attracted to. Horrified by my own thoughts, I abruptly stood up, eager to return to the hotel. Thomas wasn't ready to leave and persuaded me to stay a bit longer, saying how much he loved the evening and wanted to savor it. I agreed, and we sat in silence for 10 more minutes before he began speaking again. He started by saying
Sorry.
I didn't owe him anything and just needed to listen. I tensed, and Thomas confessed that he had fallen in love with me.
This is this is
Too much.
Homework!
This
You just
Write this down!
You just talked for 2 hours about how you'll always love your previous partners.
This is like so
And now you're like-
hallmarky, man.
No. It's like they'll always have a spot in our heart, and like it makes sense because OP and Thomas are in the same boat about this, and they both agree on this perspective.
I don't know. I think this is.
It's like the thing of like, oh, would you rather have your partner like if I pass away, would you rather have your partner go on with some stranger or someone you trust?
I don't think it's even about that. It's not about what the previous partner would want. It's about where they're at right now and how their previous relationships are kind of influencing the way that they're feeling about each other right now.
Because they're people. They're not their relationship.
I know they're people, but it's like, I don't know. It just feels like out of all the people on the face of the planet, it's like this is the next person.
Well, this is the next person, and I think they share a lot of similar experiences. One is friends, and then 2 as losing lovers and children.
They're bonding over grief. They're bonding over trauma that they've shared and that they both have intimate knowledge of. I just don't know if it's going to be healthy. I don't know.
People want to change their vote. This is too soon. It's been 3.5 years.
Still, though, but like
3 years?
But like way too close to the situation.
What were you
regardless.
3 years ago?
New Mexico.
I was in Tennessee getting over a breakup.
Okay.
I'm just saying people change in 3 years. Like I was super unhappy where I was 3 years ago, and now I'm like thriving. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But yeah, no, neither of us can have any glimpse or like any thing of this. But it's just saying people change in 3 years, and they put a lot of work into themselves.
And maybe within those 3 years, they felt alone or like they're grieving, and then seeing their friend is like a familiar place. I don't know, like kind of like nostalgia.
It gives a comfort.
It's a comfort. It's a certain comfort that you like. It's also a trauma bond, but I think it's a certain comfort that you like.
Okay.
In a way, nostalgic. Not really, but kinda.
But I think we should keep going. He said that during the trip, he realized we could try to have a relationship because being with me felt as natural as breathing. He acknowledged how complicated the situation was, but felt that we both deserved to be happy. He believed I felt the same way, which gave him the courage to confess. I was speechless. I liked him too, and I couldn't deny it. But the complexity of the situation and my own consciousness were eating me alive. I told him that once we parted ways, these feelings would fade, and we would forget about them. That was all just the magic of Italy, and that it would be better not to make any mistakes. I saw the disappointment in his eyes, but he simply agreed and suggested we return to the hotel. Our rooms were nearly adjacent.
Oh, no.
And we parted in silence. I couldn't sleep that night.
Oh, this is so cliche. It's going to be so cliche.
Around 2 in the morning, I went to the hotel courtyard for fresh air. To my surprise, Thomas had the same idea, and we met in the hallway.
Oh,
Creepy.
cliche.
No, this was creepy.
I
That was planned.
I wanted to go back to my room, but he asked, let's talk. Understanding the need to address the situation, I agreed. He sat down in the courtyard, and he asked why I was afraid to admit my feelings. I told him I feared being judged by others, our friends, family, and especially Amber's parents, because I was her best friend. It felt wrong primarily in relation to her memory. Thomas then asked if I would be afraid if we were just two strangers who fell in love. I realized that I wouldn't be, that all my fear came from the judgment of others and my own guilt. However, we weren't strangers. We had shared a history that couldn't be ignored. He asked for just one chance for those feelings, saying that fate seemed to be bringing us together. He promised we wouldn't tell anyone until we were certain of our relationship. Inside, shame and affection for Thomas battled. But that night,
Oh no.
affection won.
Oh.
And we kissed.
I'm pretty sure they did more than just.
And in that moment, the kiss felt like the most necessary thing in the world.
It's all too much, man. I don't know. It'd be too much for me. I mean, it's cute. It's a movie, yada, yada, yada. But, like, if you strip all that away, I feel like this is being set up for, like,
But
a really bad breakup.
Sometimes life isn't a movie. Like,
Exactly,
you can't treat it like a fairy
Yeah.
tale. And I feel like this is like so fairy tale, goo goo, boo boo. Like,
Yeah, a little bit.
Little Bat 90 has a good comment here. I feel divided by this story. One side I feel and get the comfort side, but the other I really feel like it's too soon for him to say that, but two, he needs to properly process his grief before.
I mean, it's been like 3.5 years, but that's not necessarily like it takes a long time to
for
fully
some people.
process that. And I feel like
Yeah.
if you had processed your grief, I feel like you wouldn't pursue a relationship with like your late best friend's partner.
Mm-hmm.
Like also on Thomas's side, like it was his friend who was married to OP and OP's friend Amber who was married to Thomas. So they're both in the same, but like, I don't know. I feel like if you had fully processed that, you'd be like, this can't happen. It feels too wrong.
I'm kind of with the Talmud on this one. I think this is so like the way it's written. It just seems so fairy tale-esque in a way.
It's a novel. It could be.
It sounds like a novel.
Fake, but
I could be wrong. I want to be wrong.
there's
And,
plenty of
like,
crazy stories that are real.
Like this could be so real, and I feel like this does happen more than you think. It's just the way this is written and the time frame. It's like I get it, but it's too soon. Ugh.
It is in a
People
way. It feels
process
like it's
grief
written a little
quicker.
sterilely because it's like there's some ways where it's like it's like it was eating me alive inside. It's like
The fact that he said,
but how would you really? I feel like a real person would be like.
he said fate. He's like, oh, this is what fate wants.
And I feel like
And
he's
it's like,
manipulating fate.
I mean, is
Yeah.
it fate that your uncle had a house in Naples?
Is it fate that you showed up there without telling anyone?
Is it
Is
fate
it
that
fate-
you walked out of the door at the same time she did in the
Well,
hallway?
is it fate that you probably waited for her to walk out, or
What a
whatever?
coinkydink. There's way too many coincidences here that's happening.
I feel like he's like, ever since he saw her on that Instagram one night, he was like, oh, I forgot about OP.
Too many coinkydinks.
Anyways, they kissed. But I stopped us and returned to my room, saying I couldn't do this. The next day, Thomas said work was calling him back, and he left. I spent the rest of the vacation with the group as planned, but a few days before the trip ended, I confided in Elizabeth and Sasha. They weren't surprised by our feelings and said we made a great match. They encouraged me to choose happiness for myself and for Thomas, saying we both deserved it after everything we've been through. Their words smoothed my consciousness somewhat. However, everything changed when I shared the story with Ursula. She accused me of betraying Amber and her parents and said I was going to ruin everything over fleeting infatuation. Her words cut deep.
Okay, well
And
that's
now I'm unsure what to do.
in
My
terms
affection for Thomas is not fleeting, and I know his feelings for me are genuine, but I can't deny that many people would view our feelings as wrong. Even I doubt whether pursuing a relationship with him is worth it or if I should prioritize my own happiness. Oh,
I think ruining everything is probably a bit of a stretch there.
yeah,
But it's more about, is this relationship healthy for you and Thomas? Forget everybody else.
yeah,
It's how is this going to work for you guys long term potentially?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
and
if
I
you
didn't
can
like-
fully process anything if you're with your.
Do you think it's like
And
the taboo thing?
partner.
Like it's like, oh, let's not get caught kind of thing. It's like, is this so like, it's not like an affair or anything, but it's like, this is wrong, but it's so right, kind of thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the part where I have my job's calling me, I have to leave the day after you didn't get the conversation you wanted. If everything went smooth and he got what he wanted out of it, he would have stayed.
Probably. Like, who knows if the job call was real? It's like, it's a lot. There's a lot going on here that makes my eyebrows go,
Yeah.
It would be so nice if it could work, though, right? It would be nice if it could work. If 10 years had gone by, maybe I'd say, okay, we're at a full reset here. 3.5? I don't know about that. Given all the context, I don't know about that because it's so tragic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Thomas and I haven't spoken since. I know he's likely hurt and offended by my hesitation, but I don't want to get involved with him until I'm absolutely certain about my decision. We've already talked about it. Here's a freaking update. I'm not sure how to make an update here. Okay. Technologically advanced. What did I say earlier? Technologically
challenged.
Technology challenged. It's my new word. Update. For the past 2 weeks, I have been in my hometown, mainly because of my goddaughter, who started school this year, and I just had to be there for her first day. At the beginning of the week, I had a conversation with my cousin, my godmother's mom, and she asked me about my trip to Italy. During the conversation, I mentioned Thomas a few times, because he was there too. It's important to note that my cousin has a good sense or intuition about relationships. Back when Adam and I were just friends, she told me that I should pay attention to him, as he was a wonderful person and I would be a great husband in the future. As you know, she wasn't wrong, and Adam truly was a wonderful husband, had a great personality. She has made similar predictions for others close to her, and she's always been right. So her next words caught me off guard. My cousin, who doesn't know about the situation between me and Thomas, said that we looked like a couple in love in the photos. She meant the ones I posted in my Instagram stories, and that maybe I should consider him because we had a similar story, and we would make a great couple. When she finished speaking, I just let out a nervous laugh and said nothing. She was distracted by her older daughter, and we didn't return to the conversation. But her words stuck with me. I realized I couldn't keep dragging this situation out, and I had to make a decision. First of all, I talked to my parents. My mom was neutral about the situation, saying it was up to me to decide. My dad and I had a longer conversation. In the end, he, like many of you in the comments, advised me to talk to Amber's parents. Dad, like my mom, believes it's up to me and Thomas to decide how to proceed. But for my consciousness, I had to talk to Amber's parents. Gathering my courage a few days ago, I finally decided to visit Amber's parents. I felt like I was acting strangely, as about 10 minutes after I arrived, Amber's mom asked me what was bothering me so much. I couldn't tell her everything at once, so I sat in the bathroom for a minute while trying to calm down. I still don't understand why I was so nervous, but after calming myself down, I told her everything.
Girl, I understand why you were nervous. Are you serious? You don't understand why you were nervous?
I'm about to take your dead daughter's husband.
I'm in love with your late daughter's husband, who was my friend, and that we were here together and we bonded over how, like, what? Yeah, it would be weird. That's weird. That's weird. I'm in love with your son-in-law now.
Yeah, someone says OP is trying to knock herself out of it. Or I don't know. Anyways, poll, should they get together or not?
No.
Poll, get together or not? I'm
too
curious.
much wrapped up in it. I think you should be able to be friends. And I think the way forward is clearly like having this discussion and being like, look, we've got some complicated feelings. Yeah, maybe maybe we could make this work, but honestly,
I
it's
think over
just so
time,
much.
I think with if you go slow, very slow, but I feel like they're rushing into this.
There are billions of people on the face of the planet who don't have these connections to you. Trauma is a deep bond, but it doesn't mean that you should be dating this guy because you do have feelings for him and because he has feelings for you. You have a lot of other factors and other feelings that are probably feeding into that. And there's no way this is clear cut and dry.
Okay.
It's just too much.
All right. That's what he says.
That's my position. I don't know, but people have free will. They can do whatever they want. Let me be clear. I think that they are perfectly in the right to be together. My take is that I don't think it's going to be a good relationship for them. I think it's going to deteriorate and it's going to end real bad. And then instead of being able to maintain this connection and a friendship with this guy, now it's gone forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's going to work.
I think maybe Thomas is doing some whack things, low key. He's not seeming like an all stand up guy. There's some manipulative things he might be doing there. But other than that, I think this could work out. Imagine my surprise when Amber's mom said that Thomas had come to see them the day before for the same reason. For the second time that week, I was speechless. She just took my hands and said she wished us nothing but happiness, as Amber would have wanted the same for us, and as Adam would too. She said that Ursula and I had always been like daughters to her, and our well-being would always be important to her, as Amber's was once. I started crying. After calming down, I thanked her for her kind words and told her she had been like a second mom to me. We had some tea, talked, and I went home. On the way, I wanted to call or text Tom, but decided to leave it for the next day when my head would be clearer. Well, the week continued to surprise me. I found Tom in the living room of my parents' house, looking through my childhood photos with my dad. My dad was telling him when and where the pictures had been taken. I would have thought I was in a movie if I hadn't been standing in the doorway, watching the scene unfold with my own eyes. Too many events for just a few days, don't you think?
Yes, actually.
I know they saw me walk in, but they didn't pay attention to me for a few more minutes. Then my dad got up from the couch, greeted me, and said he needed to help Mom with the groceries, put on his coat, and left the house, leaving me alone with Tom. I stood there in shock. Tom spoke first, without getting up from the couch. He greeted me and asked how my visit to Amber's parents had gone. How did he know that? I kept silent and stared at him. He got up, poured me a glass of water, and told me to drink. I downed the whole glass but still didn't speak. I just walked into the living room and sat on the couch. Tom understood I wasn't ready to talk, so he started first. He explained that he had been upset with me for a long time, but about 2 weeks ago, he'd realized he had to do everything he could to resolve the situation. It was important for him to understand if I had rejected him because I didn't have feelings for him or because of other people's prejudices. He made sure that no one except Ursula was against our relationship. It turned out that he had also spoken to Ursula, and she had told him everything she had told me. He wasn't pleased with what she said, but despite that, he decided to come to see me. Since I was at Amber's parents' house, my parents greeted him. He talked to my dad about the situation, but didn't ask for his permission to be with me because, as he said, only I could decide that. In the end, he said that if I didn't have feelings for him, he would understand and would never bother me again. But if I wanted to be with him, he would do everything to make sure no one said a word against us. I silently listened and thought about every word he said. He turned out to be so much braver than me in the end.
Brother.
Yes, I had come back to life before he did, but he was ready to be happy here and now, while I seemed to be looking for an excuse to push him away, afraid to finally find happiness.
I'm sorry, pause. There's no way that they just used come back to life in quotes to describe them coming back together after their partners passed away. That's
really bad taste.
Fictional.
Yeah, that's some
real.
wild taste, brother. That's
also, dude, like being like, oh, make sure nobody says anything bad about our relationship. It's like you can't control that. You're already operating from the wrong perspective. You just have to be okay with each other. You're going to have to block out the outside noise. People are going to either accept that you're in a relationship or they're not.
Yeah.
Again, this isn't about them. This is about you, both of you. And it's clearly, I don't know, it's like a bullhorn in my ear screaming at me that this won't work.
Yeah. People are saying AI.
Haviticus havuticus, find someone nudicus.
Huh?
That was my spell that I cast with the worm.
Find someone.
New, N-E-W, okay?
All right.
Okay.
But it wasn't just my trauma from losing Adam that haunted me. There was also something more trivial and even funny, but still, it came up during my therapy session. When my therapist asked me to set aside the fear of others' approvals and think about their things that scared me about the potential relationship with Tom, I, of course, said I was afraid of losing him like I lost Adam. When we discussed that fear, I realized there was another one, a rather silly one, looking back at it now, but it was inside of me, so I needed to address it. Amber was a tall blonde with a model-like European appearance, 5'10". She was very beautiful and a striking girl. Many boys in our school were in love with her, but Amber wasn't the only one. Most of all, Thomas's ex-girlfriends that I knew of all had a similar type. And then there was me, a brunette with Asian features, 5'6", with an average figure. I didn't fit Thomas's type at all. Yes, you might say that it's silly to compare myself like that because if someone truly loves you, looks become secondary. And I agree with you, but I think many people can understand that no matter how hard we fight our insecurities, they hit the hardest in our most vulnerable moments. But I couldn't allow myself to be stuck in my negative thoughts. And since Thomas was there, it was time to discuss everything. Gathering my courage, I spoke up. I told him about my fears and my concerns. He listened attentively and didn't laugh when I mentioned the comparison to his exes. Thomas said he was also afraid of losing me, but he couldn't live in that fear anymore, and he wanted to live fully. And if I allow it, he wanted to live with me and love me. But it was important to him that I love him too. Of course, it's too early to talk about our deep love and our situation, but feelings are definitely not fleeting. As for my appearance, he said I was incredibly beautiful, always had been, and that my hair color or eye shape could never diminish his feelings for me. He even joked that he wasn't exactly a tall Asian man like Adam had been. We laughed, and the atmosphere lightened up.
Honestly, whatever. That's like one of the most real things I think I've heard in this story so far. Is it's like, yeah, it's been years, and you're with someone close. It's like, you know, you can laugh. Finding someone you can laugh with about like grief or like someone who's passed away is a real thing.
It's a trauma bond.
Laughing in this situation is a human thing.
Yeah, it's a trauma bond.
Thomas asked if I was ready for a relationship, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't hesitate. I said yes, and hugged him immediately. We sat like that for a few minutes before we heard the sound of my parents' car. The four of us had dinner together, laughed a lot, and I was happy that Tom had so easily gotten along with my parents. He kissed me when we left. Not in front of my parents, of course, and asked me out for a date the next day. We were finally happy, or rather, he was, and I wasn't entirely. That night, I kept thinking about Ursula and her words. It hurt me that she didn't share everyone else's opinion. One of you left a comment saying that she hadn't fully grieved her own loss yet, and I think that's true. When you have 3 kids to take care of, there's not always time for grieving and proper therapy. I don't blame her, but I'm not going to make excuses for her either. I decided to talk to her before Tom and I make things official. The next morning, I called her and asked to meet. We agreed to meet for lunch at a cafe. I expected her to be more negative, but she was calm. I told her about my conversation with Amber's mom and my talk with Thomas and about our decision. I could see that she was full of doubts. Surprisingly, she apologized for speaking so harshly to me about Thomas.
I mean, that's, I guess, fair, right? Maybe she hadn't been confronted with that before that moment.
Yeah.
And then she's hearing like Thomas and OP are going to get together. She's like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Again, I disagreed with her sentiment of like, you're going to ruin everything. It's like, no, but it's like they might be in like a weird non-functional, like trying to replace our partner's with each other relationship, I think.
Surprisingly, she apologized for speaking so harshly to me about Thomas. However, she also said that she hadn't changed her opinion and that, for her, those feelings were wrong. She couldn't accept it, at least not right now. She didn't want to ruin anyone's life, so if Thomas and I had decided to be together, it would be better if we stopped communicating. My heart broke at that moment. Tears rolled down my cheeks, and I saw her eyes were also wet. Ursula left, and I just sat in the cafe trying to hold back my tears. After paying, I quickly rushed home and barely made it through the rest of the day. I work online, and if you guys want to make it through the rest of your freaking day, go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime, and we will help you get through your day with hundreds of hours of stories just like this. Search it up.
Indeed.
And
varying degrees of realness or fakeness.
we talked about AI content. I don't think we didn't pick this to be AI content. Anyway, sorry.
I don't understand, though, where it's like, I don't want to ruin everyone's life, so I guess we can't talk to each other. It's like, hey, whatever happened to just being like, agree to disagree?
That, and I think Ursula just can't accept the relationship, so she doesn't want to put her negative connotations on the relationship, so she's going to remove herself from it until she can come to terms with it.
Well, I don't know. It sounded like she's like, I'm calm. Look, I don't even know how to give advice.
There's
for
thinking
this
with
because
your
it's-
emotions and thinking with your head, and I feel like this has all been just straight emotion.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all
Yeah.
I'm thinking. If this is real, because it does happen when like, oh, fools rush in, or like love at first sight, all that jazz, and you're like, oh, I don't know. This is so freaking quick. It's wild to me.
Jellyboy has a good point. They said that English was not their first language, so they maybe used ChatGPT to spruce it up.
Maybe. I mean, like, we all have crazy. I'm sure you have crazy stories. I have crazy stories. Keon has crazy stories. We all have stories that would definitely not sound real if we told them right now.
I mean,
Right? But
I got crazy stories.
I think outside of whether this story is real or fake, like, you have more options. And I think if you really like, I mean, if you were married to this person then you were best friends with someone else, like, y'all are just too intertwined. This is an entanglement. Truly,
Yeah.
more than anything I have ever seen, the word entanglement applies here. Like, y'all are all twisted up with so many different plot lines and variables and emotions and reactions that it's like, you cannot have a clean cut beginning or I don't know, anything when this relationship's gonna be a mess.
Yeah,
I'm calling it. And you're free to experiment and find out for yourself, I guess.
But we have a little bit more, and we're going to find out the rest of the context. So, it was probably a bad idea to see Ursula on the same day as my date with Thomas. But what's done is done. When I realized I couldn't handle the date, I told him exactly how I felt. He suggested I come to his place, and I cried in his arms all night. I know this isn't the kind of first date he dreamed of, nor did I. But I was once again convinced that I had made the right choice. I also told him about the post here, and he read it, all the comments, and thanks everyone who shared their words of support. I'm finishing this post while he sleeps peacefully. It's been night here. We don't know what the future holds for us, but we'll do everything we can to be happy. And yes, I will move to his country soon, so this is likely the first and last update to the story. Once again, thank you to everyone. Be happy, and goodbye.
Not only are you going to get in a relationship with this guy, you're going to move to a different country.
And
This
not
is like the
freaking
second
update
date.
us?
This is like the second, like, let's say they've been seeing each other logistically or realistically here. Not that long.
But they have history, though.
I don't care if you got history, bro. People change after, especially trauma and grief and all this. People change.
Yeah, you do not know enough about how y'all are going to work out to move to a new country.
It's like 3 years
unless
later,
you're
yeah.
in Europe and it's like a 45-minute drive away.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's different. But like,
Moving to a different country for somebody that you're like, I don't know what the future holds for us, but I'm happy right now.
and crazy that it's like,
Listen.
so I came over and cried in his arms all night. I'm sure it's not what he expected. It's like, well, I mean, probably was what he expected because you guys are an emotional hurricane.
Yeah, I love romance. Don't get me wrong. I'm a sucker for it. But this is, out of all this context, this is not romantic.
No, it's
There's no romance here. This is like, hey, we got the same issues, right? It's been a while. You know me, I know you. Let's just ride the wave, kind of thing.
I mean, it's literally it's absurd that you are now gonna be in like a committed relationship with the closest possible thing you could ever have to your partners who have passed away,
which might be a comfort thing.
It's a trauma thing.
It's
trauma
not
thing.
coming from
All
the
right,
right
do the
place.
poll, do the poll, do the poll, do the poll.
What's the poll? What do you want to pull it?
Do people still feel the same? Is it like stay together or nah?
Everybody in this story needs to process their grief more.
Like I'm saying, the fact that she's willing to just cut ties with people because she's like, I'm so infatuated. Like, this is making me happy in the moment.
Well,
yada.
That wasn't her, to be fair.
No.
That was Ursula.
That was Ursula, but I'm like, she's cool with it. She's just cool with it. It's just.
But it doesn't. Ursula didn't make any sense there because she was like, what? She was so calm, and then she was like, I don't want to ruin anybody's life. Well, it's like, just like, shut up, then. Just like, don't. What? So every time you see them, you're just gonna tell them that you don't approve of them. It's like, I have friends that I don't approve of everything they do all the time. I don't yap their ear off about it every time I see them, like, because that's like, I don't know, not what you do as a human being, maybe.
Yeah, and they posted this like 5 months ago, so we can probably 6 months ago, so we can probably get an update in another 6 months. I wish, like, low key, I wish that every story we read was after the pass of the human existence, so we have all the updates on Reddit that we possibly can get.
After
After like
the heat death of the universe,
the universe is doing it,
So we
and
could
like,
know
and then I go to the
exactly what's
future,
going
see
on.
all of the updates, and then I come back and I give it to you guys.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, hey, people are complex. Whatever.
People are complex, but this was a story of literally just let your emotion take over here.
Complete the narrowest hallway, tunnel vision on, I don't know. Yeah. I think you would need some more therapy to unpack exactly why you guys felt like you were the only match for each other in that moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it sounds like she dated one guy for 6 months and then started, like, this thing with Tom.
Well, no. She dated a guy for 6 months and then had a year and then started it.
Well, I know that it wasn't 6 months. I know there's more time, but it sounds like she had one somewhat serious relationship that lasted half a year, and now she's going to date her late best friend's husband. It doesn't sound like a good idea.
I mean, hey, I'm for love, and we have 46% of people saying stay, 54% saying nah. But guys, that is the end of this story.
My boyfriend didn't want his friend moving in, but he lied to his friend and blamed me.
Liar and
Liar.
blamer.
Liar and blamer. Let's see what this boyfriend really does. So I, 24 female, live with my boyfriend.
Another one.
I, 24 female, live with my boyfriend, 25 male, in a 2-bedroom apartment in a major city. However, we've been fighting for almost a week because of a decision I made spitefully, and therefore, I may be the a-hole.
Okay.
It's a small apartment, so it's impossible to avoid him for much longer. I mean, it's a 2-bedroom. I don't know how much you can avoid each other. I really need a third-party opinion on the matter. Well, welcome to the party where we give you a third of our thoughts. By the way, this comes from Mononokis. All right.
Yeah.
By the way, this comes from Mononokis Moon. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, for some background, we've been officially dating since we moved in together 2 years ago when I graduated from uni, but we were hooking up for about a year before then. A classic love story. During that year, we weren't together, so to speak. My boyfriend, let's call him Sam.
Yeah.
And his best friend, let's call him Max, were living together in this house. Max, 27 male, has been my boyfriend's friend for years and is basically like an older brother to him. We've never really gotten along, but please believe me, I have tried. It's just that Max never seems to be interested in getting to know me, or at worst gets genuinely annoyed by me interacting with him. Sam thinks it's probably the age difference, me being 24 and him being 27. That makes him... Riley, did you change this story?
I did not.
These are the real... Because
I did
my name
not.
is Sam and I'm 27.
Not for long.
And I have a friend named Max. No, I turned 28 in February.
That's right. That's right. You just turned 20. Yep.
That makes him not very interested in getting to know me. But I think that if he can get on with Sam despite the 2-year age gap, then what's the problem with getting on with his girlfriend, age gap aside?
Yeah, not a crazy age gap.
What is a crazy age gap at 27?
40 or 3.
Nah, dude. It's got to be 70.
70, dude. 70 and
Crazy.
above, that's too crazy. Anyway, it's besides the point, but I think it's pretty relevant for the actual argument. Also, Bethany says, conspiracy theory, Max is into Sam. Ooh, intrigue.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Intrigue. That's a good one. We love
I like
that. Right. Basically, Max recently broke up with his girlfriend. And since he was living with her, she rightfully punted him out. Now, before you ask, I have no idea why he thought he would still have somewhere to live after telling his landlady with benefits that he wasn't spicy sleepily attracted to her anymore.
Ouch.
But I digress. Now, Max is homeless and is asked to stay with Sam. And yes, if you're wondering, I also live here and pay for rent and utilities, an equal amount to Sam. But I suppose Max only wanted to ask the person whose name is on the lease. All this aside, Sam doesn't want Max to come live with us again, which works for me because I wouldn't particularly like to live with a guy who doesn't even deign to speak to me. I think Sam doesn't want him living here because he used to be a bit of a slob when they lived together. His words, not mine. But I would imagine he also doesn't want another person in this small apartment. However, Sam clearly lacks a spine to say any of this to his friend. So who does he use as an excuse?
Oh, no.
Yeah, me.
Oh, no.
Whack.
Very whack.
Giving us Sams with spines bad names.
Yeah, that's right.
Grow
Sammy
a spine.
Spines.
Grow a spine. Get that back. Apparently, he told Max how he would love for him to come and live with him again. Oh, I would love it so much. Like the good old days. Just us two boys. Boying around. But his stupid girlfriend won't let it happen.
Oh, my God.
Oh, P.U. Now, I could live with this if Max could act like an adult about it. But he's now starting to blow my phone up with texts, calling me a witch, calling me jealous, literally just random insults that don't even address the main issue. Really great. Really great. It's definitely going to make them want to live with you. And before you ask, they're so specifically cruel that I am afraid if I copy and paste them here, it will be instantly obvious who I am.
Whoa.
I've shown them to Sam, but he told me to ignore them and do him a favor. How about you do everyone in your life, including you, a favor
Yep.
by growing a spine?
Yep. Yes,
I want you
ma'am.
to reverse Mortal Kombat yourself. You know how they like take the head and go, and there's a little spine floating in the video game? I want you to get that spine shoved into your body.
Put it in.
Shoved into your body.
Pause.
I meant to say that.
Put that thing in there.
Yep.
Put that dangling thing in the back of your throat.
All right.
Make sure
In
it's
your
stiff
throat.
first.
Yeah, exactly.
Spine, that is.
Stiff spines only. He argued that since Max and I already don't like each other, there's no harm in letting me take the fall for this decision. I mean, there's harm in me thinking you're a butt.
Actually, there's not.
This is where I might be the a-hole because on day 10 of receiving abusive messages from Max, instead of ignoring him or blocking him, I just told him the truth.
Ooh.
A great move.
It was late at night, and I was tired, and I was slightly tipsy from a bottle of wine.
Let's go.
Sam was out with Max, still enjoying his friendship, despite the horrible things his friend was saying to his girlfriend. Gross.
Yeah.
So yes, before you ask, I was feeling vengeful. And I think a lot of me did it out of spite. You know, sometimes vengeance needs to strike. Sometimes the bat signal is out in the air, and you got to go,
Batman.
and you got to do some wham and pows. You know, send out some feisty text messages late at night.
Use that spine.
Yeah, use that spine.
That he doesn't have.
Yeah, take his noodly spine and whip Max with it.
Yeah.
To be honest, the worst part is Max didn't believe me. And if anything, it only made him angrier at me. So in a way, the only thing I succeeded at doing was breaking my promise to Sam not to tell him, simply because I let Max get in my head. Maybe you should break your promise of being with this guy.
Yeah.
Bethany asks, why does Sam even want to keep a relationship with Max, a man who is abusing his girlfriend anyway? Dump Sam. Let him and Max live together in misery.
Facts. I
Facts,
agree.
Bethany.
There we
That
go.
is some snaps. Well-deserved,
I like
And-
that.
dear Bethany,
What was the reason why Sam didn't want Max to move in?
because he's a slob.
He's a slob, and
Okay,
it's
okay.
a small apartment, another person. Like, I feel like general like roommate stuff. It's like, okay,
And also, he
what
seems
is
like he
it?
sucks.
Yeah, he does suck.
After I sent the message, I got a call from Sam, but ignored it and went promptly to bed. When I woke up, I assume a couple hours later, I had an angry boyfriend in my bedroom telling me that I was an a-hole, not the word he used actually, and that Max didn't even believe me. I then asked why it mattered so much since Max didn't believe me, but I think he had one too many drinks because he couldn't answer me and went to sleep on the couch. It's been a week now, and we've been giving each other the silent treatment. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. Yikes.
Sam Chan says, strip him of his name.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve to be a Sam. Yeah,
Who is he now?
agreed.
Who is he now?
He's nothing. He's
nothing.
He's no man.
Hello, no
He's
man.
nobody.
Should we? I mean, if you give me a minute, I can change his name.
No. It's okay. It's okay. Max has come over a couple of nights, sitting on the couch and watching football with Sam and giving me a similar stink eye. But I've just left them to it and have moved into the guest room, partially to avoid Sam, partially to stop him from letting Max sleep here. So yeah, I'm typing this on day 5 of the Cold War. I don't know if that method is actually going to work, because he might not be sleeping in the guest room. He might be sleeping with Sam. I think there might be a budding romance brewing.
They took that bromance and they're saying the B is now optional.
The B is optional.
Yep. Full
And the
romance.
bedroom is absolutely necessary.
Oh, yes.
It's mandatory.
Mandatory for
Yeah.
them.
I'm typing this on day 5 of the Cold War from the guest bedroom while my boyfriend is sleeping in our bed, still angry at me for jeopardizing his friendship. Am I the a-hole? There is an update, John.
Oh my god.
There is an update.
Oh
but
my god.
what should OP do?
Okay.
What should OP do? Tell me. Give me your sage wisdom.
I got you. First of all, OP, not the a-hole at all. The boyfriend, if the boyfriend really didn't want him as a roommate, then he should have told him. And the fact that first off, that was already bad. But the fact that then Max comes around, is insulting you.
Yeah.
He doesn't defend you. All of the stuff, like, he doesn't care about you. He cares more about Max than he does you.
Yep. That is true.
He
It's
is literally
precious-
prioritizing him over you.
Precious relationship with Max.
Yeah. So not the a-hole at all. And I mean, like, I think sitting him down and be like, hey, do you see what's happening here? Do you see how you literally prioritize him over me? And see what he says just to see him like, and
I mean, it's obvious they need a breakup.
Yeah.
They need
I'm
to
feeling
break
a
up.
breakup.
Break up.
I don't think he'll do anything.
Why are you
to
still
change.
writing this story and not writing, I'm breaking up with you?
Yeah.
Facts.
It could be.
Maybe that's what we get in the update.
It could be soon. But I'm on team breakup for sure.
Team breakup. Let's see what happens in the updates.
Let's go.
Bethany says, time to get a pre-divorce.
Yes.
Well, for everyone who thought they might be sleeping together, you were right. I caught
Oh my
them effing and sucking in our living room.
What?
Not sucking.
They were effing and sucking
What?
Oh,
at
no.
the same time.
I was not expecting that. Someone said that. Someone said that early on. Who said that? Didn't you guys? I highlighted that. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
You
Someone
did.
said that. Oh my God. We saw it coming. And I guess OP saw them coming as well.
It was coming. Yeah.
They were coming. Coming in the front.
Why
Coming
would
right in front of
Sam?
our eyes.
That makes it even more complicated because why would Sam not want Max there anyways?
I think he does. I think he's trying to. I don't know. I think he's trying to have his cake and suck it too. You know.
Yeah. He's just like living this ruse and stuff. Low key, I feel like Sam is just like weirdly in the middle. Why not just go be with him? I guess he's just messy.
He wants both.
He just wants both.
He just wants both.
He's just crazy and he sucks.
Just kidding. Ah, dang it.
What?
You. Come on. I wanted that.
Come on.
I wanted that.
Golly.
But that would probably be funnier than this update is going to be. If you didn't see my previous post, basically the TLDR, for people asking, so my boyfriend threw me under the bus when his friend needed a place to stay, saying it was just me that was against it. And then didn't defend me after against the barrage of abusive texts his best friend sent me thereafter. So I'm still here in the guest room using Reddit as my only means of escape from my depressing reality. But for everyone who warned me that Sam would probably cave and let Max move in eventually, yeah, he did. And it only took 1 day since my last post.
Oh.
They are not sharing a bed yet. I still think something's gonna happen. We got a lot more to this story.
Oh, yeah. Just starting.
Max has parked himself on our couch and shoved his stuff inside what used to be our bedroom. I was working from home this afternoon when the two of them started moving in, so I was able to grab everything and lock it in the guest room with me, barricade actually. Sam texted me asking me to talk to them over dinner, probably about future living arrangements since it's clear what is inevitable here, but I just told them that I was coming down with the flu and should be avoided. Even though it's annoying to have to talk so nicely to him, I still have to live here for 2 weeks more before I can escape, so I'm trying to act as normally as possible. I'm really lucky that one of my friends is coming back from her work abroad in about 2 weeks since her parents have arranged an apartment for her to move into, and she's invited me to stay with her there until I can find somewhere else. That's great. That's great. So it seems like OP is building up the courage and the means to break up, because like I guess if she broke up now, this guy's pretty childish. It might just make like the living situation terrible for the next 2 weeks.
And maybe she just needs to be outside of like living there 24/7 just for a beat.
Yeah.
To kind of come to, you know.
Kind of get our things in order.
Yes.
It's been so difficult for me while she's been gone, since she was basically my only friend in the city who wasn't also friends with Sam and Max. Speaking to her, even if it's in the middle of the night where she is and she has no reception, has opened my eyes to how quickly I need to get out of both this relationship and this building.
Wow.
Girls out there, talk to your friends. They're seriously the biggest blessing you'll ever get. So yeah, if anyone has any advice to make these 2 weeks pass a little quicker, it would be appreciated. I think I'm still a devil woman in both their eyes, and our mutual friends are somehow taking Sam's side. I don't know if he spun them a different story, or it's just the fact that they were all his friends first, or even the fact that he's the baby of the group. Yeah, how did I not see that? This was a red flag. But at this point, it doesn't even matter anymore. Thank you to everyone who commented, showed interest and concern, etc. I didn't know how much I needed to speak to someone who wasn't friends with Sam. Hopefully, my next update will be when I'm moved out. But for now, I'm safe and grateful. And there is an update.
Okay. Wow.
There is an update.
Dang, bro folded.
I'm still thinking they're doing something.
Yeah, I mean, we still got time in the story, and I wonder what, I feel like Sam maybe poisoned the well with the friends too.
Yeah.
Because
like he isolated OP from the rest of the friend group because they share friends.
Yes, and basically now that this fallout is happening, he's like he's just like spreading whatever rumors,
spreading lies.
Yeah,
spreading lies,
turning them against OP.
But yeah, we got another update. We got like a bunch of updates here.
Oh
so
my God.
I think we're gonna get some juice.
Give it to me.
Gonna get some juice. So if you didn't see my last two posts, TLDR, boyfriend Sam, 25 male, used me, 24 female, as an excuse to his best friend, Max, 27 male, who was punted out of his apartment. Max then blew up my phone with abuse. Sam didn't defend me. I told Max the truth. Sam got mad at me, moved Max in anyway, and I locked myself in the guest bedroom, and I'm still here waiting for my friend to get back from abroad so that I can move into her apartment her parents are arranging from her. So let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people of Reddit. The sun has just come out. Metaphorically speaking, I still live in the UK, and I've been inspired to write this mini update to tell everyone all the petty things I have been doing while I wait for my best friend to come back from abroad so that we can move in together. For everyone wondering about it, I have amazing news. Her parents have doubled down on helping me and are trying to speed up the apartment stuff so that there's a chance to start moving my stuff in even earlier.
Let's
Yippee. As for the update, I thought I'd keep coming back to this post and adding to it every time I did something petty. I know I said in my last post that I was going to live quietly so that Sam wouldn't pump me out, but some really amazing people messaged me to advise that I blackmail him into letting me stay until the end of the month by threatening to inform the landlord of Max's illegal tenancy.
That is true. That is a good point.
How fun is that? Without further ado, here is the list with the dates attached. Hopefully, I'll keep coming back to it and editing it, and we'll try to credit the Reddit users who advised me. 23rd to the 24th, September 2024. Had a lock installed on the guest bedroom. Thank you, in parking ad. Put all the stuff I bought in the guest bedroom, such as the toaster, coffee machine, and all my plants. Thanks, better turnover. Called my male coworker over to install a lock. He's a man lover, but Sam doesn't need to know that. And slightly dressed up while he was over. Thanks, Mommy Kraken, for that inspiration. Bought 2 packets of shrimp. If you know, you know.
It's like a
No way.
aphrodisiac or something.
Is he allergic to it?
Oh,
No.
that'd be great.
Thank you, Pride of
That's too
Cape Town. What does that mean? Tell me what the 2 packets of shrimp is.
Tell us, chat.
Chat, what does that mean? I'm
Cleared
lost.
a specific shelf for me in the fridge and bathroom cabinet, started labeling all my stuff really passive aggressively. Have not bought glitter yet because I'm so accident prone. I can't ensure that it won't get all over me first, but trust when I say that there are plans in motion on this front. I know about the glitter bombing people. So sending like a glitter bomb in the mail and them opening it.
Yeah.
Oh. Slithy Toe says you put shrimp inside curtain rods so they rot and stank.
Ooh. What?
Pretty smart,
Dang.
but a little evil.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Jem says sew them into the curtains. Oh my God. Y'all are crazy.
Not curtain shrimps.
I can't ensure that it won't get all over me first. Thank you, some other Reddit users. Sorry if there's anyone I forgot to thank. I'm totally swamped with comments, and I'm trying my best to reply to all of them. I'll update more tomorrow if there's any suggestions, but feel free to comment more suggestions on petty revenge I can take as I begin moving out. And we got an edit. Guys, I made a stir fry with the shrimp. Oh my God, I'm not going to use them. Please stop commenting, telling me not to use them. I know. I'm sorry. I thought it was common sense to see that it wasn't going to create an illegal biohazard in property owned by an innocent landlord. And we have an update.
So funny.
Jem said shrimp under the mattress. That's
Oh.
another one. Wow. Just put shrimp everywhere.
Yeah.
Devious.
Because they
Shrimp
don't
in the air
clean.
vents.
They don't clean.
It's true. They're
Wow.
dirty. That's
And
all
you
we
can
know.
eat some of the shrimp to make it look like they ate it and just left it around.
planting evidence.
Yes.
All right. But we got another update.
Oh.
We're not even halfway done with this story. Sorry to everyone who was waiting for this post yesterday, but the revelations that occurred after dropping the screenshots on Sam, Max, and our mutual friends were so crazy that I had to talk to everyone at the party to confirm the stories. Even now, there's so much to say and so much unconfirmed that I'm not confident this post won't have to be updated with several additions or revisions here and there. I'm also very unsure how to present this information without it sounding insane, but I've realized there is no way to present insane information without it sounding, well, like what it is.
Ooh, insane.
To put shortly, Sam lied.
About what? About what?
Let's see
About
it.
what?
About what?
Let's see it.
To put it longly, Sam has lied to everyone in his life for several years, to the point that I am doubting every interaction I've ever had with any of my friends or acquaintances.
Oh my God.
I can't even begin to imagine the scale of defamation that he has brought upon my life. Insane, right? But before I get into particulars, we should talk about what specifically went down at the party. I wasn't there, obviously, as it was a party to celebrate me moving out. So everything I am telling you now is secondhand information, primarily from Ted, my informant, but also from a couple of other mutual friends who have since come around to my side. Around midnight is when I sent the screenshots I had collected. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any evidence of Sam admitting over text that he had lied to Max, but I did find several screenshots where he brushed off my pleas for him to stop Max from abusing me. And obviously, I had many many screenshots of Max's abuse. I knew that there were several people in the group who I had talked to about Max's behavior before who were supportive of me, and so I thought that I could at least save my friendships with them. I sent the screenshots to the group chat. We had then left and deleted it, turning my phone off and settling down for a movie marathon. The Alien movies, if anyone was interested, although I fell asleep midway through Alien 3. Ted said that when the collection of photos dropped, literally everyone at the party stopped.
Oh,
Like the collection of photos dropped to everyone at the party.
Yeah. Wow, kind of brilliant.
He said they were hanging out in the living room when one of our friends bolted upright and asked Max if he really texted those things to me or if the texts were fake. At the moment, Max, wasted, apparently smirked and said, "Yeah, thank God that cheating slag is back on the streets." Which is when the rest of our friends looked at Sam. The man at the hour was pale and avoiding eye contact. Ted then asked if it was true that I had cheated, and Sam said nothing, while Max ranted and raved about how crap Ted was for questioning Sam. Ted then asked again, and another friend asked if Sam had any proof. Sam tried to nod, but then made no attempt to show anyone any kind of proof. Max then seemed to sober up slightly and asked Sam why he wasn't asking Kelly, one of our mutual friends, to show everyone the evidence, since you guys are finally broken up now, so it doesn't even matter if everyone finds out.
Ooh.
Everyone then looked at Kelly, who just looked confused, saying that she had never heard about me cheating, nor did she have any evidence of it. The web of lies!
Dude, what
it's
is
crumbling!
happening?
Dude.
What did Sam say to that? Nothing. Not a word. Maybe it was because he was wasted, or maybe he realized he had been found out, but he just stayed completely silent. The spineless man is consistently spineless, staring down at his own lap, which is all he can do because he has no spine. Couldn't hold him up if he tried.
I can't do it.
Exactly like that.
John in the last story he read.
Eventually, one of her other friends, Harry, asked Sam if it was true that I was stealing money, which prompted everyone to now turn to him. Sam stayed silent, and Harry then asked again and asked what Sam had told him last night was even true. My ex-boyfriend's lack of response then seemed to prompt other people to begin questioning him. I won't and can't bore you with the nitty-gritty of what happened next, since I wasn't there and everyone was wasted, but Ted tells me it all started to unravel after Harry's comments. Multiple other friends had been told that it was Max who was stealing money, and I think there was even a third version for some others, though I can't confirm. I don't know how precisely they started to figure out that most everything of what Sam told them in confidence was BS, but I hear it was pretty shocking. Ted tells me that the party ended soon after, with him and several others leaving, but other friends, waiting for cabs, told me that Max and Sam almost got into a physical altercation and that their argument ended with Max leaving to sleep on Harry's couch. And if any of that sounds confusing, please remember I heard all of this secondhand from hungover individuals who were wasted during it and have only shared things that multiple people confirmed happened. I was obviously told more unconfirmed details about how Sam lied about almost every part of our relationship in different ways to almost all of our friends. I know that each of them had their own private grievance with me that Sam had told them and then made them promise not to bring up to me. This is ridiculous. I can't believe he got away with it from so long, too. Like, this was a network of lies that is finally crumbling down. Like, imagine how long it took to build this network.
Like, with everyone. He had so basically, to make sure I'm understanding it very quickly, Sam ran around basically telling all of these lies, like one-to-one people, like, hey, I'm telling you in confidence, don't tell anyone else.
Yeah.
So no one was kind of like spreading it, I guess, to figure it out. Both about OP,
and
right?
everyone else.
So it was OP, Max, and like all the other. He basically was just like lying and make everyone look bad to each other in the whole group.
Yeah.
Wow, and that's why him
Most
and Max,
specifically the girlfriend, but that's why Max was like, oh, I hate this girl, because he was like, yeah, she's cheating on me all the time.
right? And then Max is like, yo, you're talking bad about me. You told me lies. That's why they're getting into it now.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yo, what the F?
Kaidi says typical narcissistic behavior.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rhinestone Cowgirl says nobody thought to fact check or ask questions.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Nah, dude.
I mean, it's hard when someone's like, "Oh, I'm telling you this in confidence." It's like,
No.
Yeah,
what do
like
you say?
I was just thinking, like if I had someone do that, I don't know that my instinct would be to
Fact check.
to fact check necessarily.
Yeah.
Depends on what the thing is, but I feel like I
Well, it
probably
depends
would.
how much
Yeah.
you trust the
Naturally.
person that's being like.
Yes.
If it's like, dude, did you hear John was flashing old ladies at Walmart yesterday?
That was not me.
I
I'm from
would-
Florida,
yeah.
but that's not me.
I would be like, show me the video.
Yeah.
Show
Let me
that
see
video.
evidence.
What did
Give
the
me
old lady
evidence.
see?
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, did I grow literally up across from Walmart? Yes, I am from Florida. However, that is fake news.
Fake news.
Fake
Fake
news.
news. Yeah. So I like it. Like I think depending on the trustworthiness of the person, yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
investigate. But yeah, I guess I am surprised no one investigated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I am a little surprised.
People that are narcissists, usually they want to win people over, and people like have to win them over. Like, oh, I'm good enough. Oh, I'm good enough to be here. So they probably want to be on his good side so that he wouldn't be mad at them. If that makes sense.
Like basically, he's trying to do this. Oh, I'm telling you in confidence for them to like. For instance, it seems like he was typically the victim in all these
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
So
and
he's making himself the
he was
victim.
trying to curry favor
Sympathy,
with all these
yeah.
the sympathy
Yeah.
points.
But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
a way to
Lame,
God.
dude. Lame.
Wow.
Giving a bad name to all Sams.
Truly.
Sam
Stop
Chen.
it.
Stop. Sam Chen and I are in the same boat over here.
There we go.
Sam had told them and then made them promise not to bring it up to me. Yesterday, when I first heard from Ted everything that happened, every lie that was alleged, I wanted to write out a list of everything he's told different people, but it all looks so ridiculous, so made up, so hard to believe that I sounded genuinely mental. In my first ever post where I talked about this, I said that I didn't want to include any of the specifics of Max's texts because they might identify me, and that for most part, they were very random and not related to the housing situation. I'm sure you can guess by now, but it turns out they were not random. In many of his texts, Max accused me of being crazy, mistreating Sam, and frequently cheating on him, which I brushed off as just thinking he had taken the red pill and now thought all women were cheating gold diggers. I will reiterate as many times as I need to, I have never in my life cheated on anyone, let alone Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to share too many personal details, but I will say that my family was ripped apart by cheating when I was a child, and it's part of the reason that I don't speak to my parents at all. People may have noticed that with how much I talked about Daisy's parents being like my surrogate parents in the comments, and Daisy's the person that she was going to move into, the friend that was abroad.
Right.
In the previous post, but if I'm honest, they're not like them. They are them. The closest people in my life for the last 3 years have been Daisy and Sam, and they both know this about me. But many don't. Not because I don't trust them, but just because you'd have to catch me at an extremely vulnerable moment for me to speak about it at all. Anyway, all that to say that Max believed what he said to me was true, not because he hates women, hates me, or is jealous in either a platonic or romantic way, but because Sam is an effing liar who's been telling Max these things for years. Max's list of lies is the only one I haven't gotten yet, and he's the only one I haven't spoken to directly. I have texts from him, from Harry paraphrasing the text that Max tried to send me at 6 a.m. after the party ended, only to realize that he was blocked, telling me that Sam had been lying about many things, including cheating. He was so angry at him and so sorry to me, so at least I know that. Still not a good move to just yell at people.
Yeah.
Even if you did think they did that, I don't know.
Yeah, like the way that Max was. There's a way to confront someone and let them know, yo, this is effed, without doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Without
probably would have been like, what are you talking about? I didn't do that. And
Exactly,
you would have gotten to
yes.
the truth more easily if you just came at the truth a little bit more elegantly.
A great point.
Mhm.
A great point.
Well, I've unblocked him.
Here we go.
I think we're going to get more truth.
Let's cook.
Called and even texted Harry asking if we could have a proper conversation with him, but it seems that after crashing on Harry's couch, Harry's one of the other friends, after the party, Max disappeared and turned off his phone. If I had to guess, I would say he probably went to Sam's apartment to get his stuff. But as far for what happened after, only Sam knows, and I am not unblocking him. Nobody else in the group has heard from either Sam or Max since the party, but it's only been about a day or so, so there's no cause for concern yet. Still, I can't lie, I'm slightly worried. I couldn't have expected or even hoped for an explosion like this, and yet I've somehow come out unscathed and with my friends firmly back on my side. That is a win.
That
we
is
go.
a huge W.
That is a freaking W. OP, you deserve that. Oh, I guess
Yeah.
not all the follow, but you deserve the friends.
Yes, we deserve the good things that are happening now.
Yeah.
Whether I want them by my side after staying quiet about all things Sam told me, confided, is another story. And I won't lie and say that I'm not enraged that they could hear such outlandish things about me and not say anything. But on the other hand, there are also many things that Sam told me about them that turned out to be lies, so I don't want to be too much of a hypocrite. In fact, this is why I'm so desperate to speak to Sam, because there are several things Sam told me about him that could be entirely false, in which case we've been pitted against each other for no reason other than Sam's strange complex. I've Googled what medical conditions can cause compulsive lying. And so to answer some questions I foresee in the comments, no, I've never seen Sam touch any substance other than booze. I don't know of any outstanding mental illnesses, and he doesn't have any medications he's meant to take, and I know of no previous trauma that could make him this way. Could I call up his mom and ask about his childhood and try to ascertain why he did what he did? Maybe. But I'm not his girlfriend anymore.
Yep.
I feel nothing other than contempt and disgust towards him, and I owe him nothing after he lied to me and everyone else for years.
That part.
I'm sorry to say that is where my update ends. I wish I had more particulars, that I could get in touch with Max, or that I could tell you why Sam lied or how he kept it up for so many years. I don't have the truth of anything, so I'm only left with lies and fires to put out. It's not a good feeling. And if I didn't have Daisy, her parents, Ted, or Reddit, I couldn't even tell you what I would be doing right now. Even with this loving community around me and so many apologetic friends spamming my phone, I can't tell what I should do next. People say that the truth is what sets you free, but I feel as though I've become untethered. Or maybe instead, I feel as though I've just discovered that I've been untethered for years. So, thanks, Reddit. Maybe I'll update again if I ever hear from Max again, or maybe this is it. And the next time you hear from me, I'll be on Plant Clinic asking about my devil's ivy. She doesn't like the new apartment. Goodbye for now, and keep safe. P.S. to everyone asking if the names Sam and Max are from a certain pair of homoerotic animal detectives, no comment.
Whoa.
What is that?
Maybe the pet. It's
Pet
the,
detective?
The show. Yeah.
Is it a
Kids
show?
Yeah. Right.
What is that?
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol? Is that it?
That's crazy. Is it like a SpongeBob and Patrick type situation?
But there's an update 4.
Oh.
We're in update 4.
Wow.
Sam and Max are getting married. Just kidding.
Oh.
But I am updating because Max finally responded to my messages and agreed to meet with me.
Here we go.
After the party about a week ago, Max crashed on Harry's couch and then left before anyone else had woken up, turning off his phone and going MIA. He's back on the grid now, though staying with his parents until his place is ready. So when I messaged him and invited him to coffee, he decided to come. I know there were comments advising me against meeting him at all, given his treatment of me, but I think we both needed some closure. I think it's one thing to need closure after loving someone for years, but hating someone for years and then finding out that you were both wrong is another level of effed up. So yeah, we went to a cafe and we finally hatched it out. It was super awkward, and somehow there's even more to this story than I thought, but I think before I share any of that, we should start from the very beginning.
Oh.
The very, very beginning.
Oh.
God.
We're getting backstory now.
Okay.
So, I met Sam during Freshers Week in my university. He was a year above me, 19, and I was a fresher, 18. Max didn't go to uni at all, actually, but had gone straight into an apprenticeship after 6th form and only visited our uni on the weekends. I didn't meet him in person until second year when I became a lot closer with Sam and his friends. I was 20, Sam was 21, and Max was 23. Their mothers were childhood friends, and so put a lot of pressure on Sam and Max to not only get along, but to also be extremely close. That pressure to be close and get along also affected Sam's uni life, as Max would visit him often on weekends. I wasn't particularly close to Sam during my first year. We were just in the same friendship group since we did similar courses, but I do remember frequently hearing about Sam having a friend from home over. However, Max was never really introduced to the group. When speaking with him, Max said Sam would brush off the idea, saying they didn't want to split his attention with anyone else, and so Max shouldn't worry about doing the rounds of his uni friends. Sam wasn't able to keep Max separated forever, though. Max was able to make himself a part of the group when Harry, another mutual friend, had an internship that summer in the same town Max and Sam were from. As he spent his time bouncing between their homes, they all became much closer, hearing that I joked that Max definitely should have stayed with Harry at the beginning of this ordeal since he clearly owed him, but I think Max still felt too guilty to laugh lol. All that background to say that Max strongly suspects that Sam's lying could have begun when he felt as though his uni friend group was threatened by him and that he wanted to regain some control. So Sam was like, oh, Max is getting too close to my uni friends and they're mine and all mine.
Oh my God.
That's not exactly what he said, but I've reworded it with the help of my therapist. Oh, yeah, I'm in therapy now. Honestly, good.
Great.
This sounds like a case where you've been through a situation where you might need it. Anyway, by our second year at uni, Harry was very pro-Max and invited him up independently of Sam to hang out. Their hometown is incredibly close, like 25 or like a 20-minute drive away. So whenever Max was off work, he began to hang out more and more with us, eventually becoming a permanent fixture of the group. It was around this time when I first met Max at a Christmas party. One of the people on mine and Sam's course was throwing. I don't really remember it myself. I think I was quite wasted, but I didn't think much of it. On the other hand, Max tells me he remembers it quite well. This part of the conversation was by far the most awkward part, but Max told me that practically the minute they arrived, he had asked Sam to introduce us. I asked him why, and he hesitated at first until he admitted that he was interested in me. Max had the hots for OP. Ooh.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, a bit of a plot twist there. In case anyone was wondering, no, me and Sam were not yet a thing yet. In fact, Sam wasn't even on my radar until a month later. So I can't tell you if he felt threatened or anything like this. For his part, Max admitted that his interest was short-lived and that it was unlikely that Sam genuinely felt threatened, especially since I didn't even remember our first meeting. But he thinks this fact may have contributed to Sam's lies centering on me cheating, a subconscious worry because of Max's former interest. In my opinion, Max's theories on why Sam did what he did didn't make a lot of sense to me, but that may be either because I don't know Sam like he does, or the opposite, that Max is too close to the painting to see the whole picture. Regardless, I thought I would share it with you guys to put your minds to rest, since so many were still begging for me to dig around and find a root cause. I can also sense many comments pushing me into trying to figure out whether Max still likes me or not. Is there something there? And I'm just telling you now that you are jumping the pew-pew. I need a serious break from relationships right now, and Max is actively looking for a therapist. Also, yeah, probably not a girlfriend. Also, a vengeance-fueled hookup isn't going to end well for anyone. Thank you, OP, for making the smart decision. And I seriously doubt that his feelings are sustained/renewed. The meeting was so awkward that the only emotions I could read off him were guilt, shame, and discomfort. So sorry, but my life is not a movie, just a series of unfortunate events, which is a movie. Me and Max have gone our separate ways, ending on a good, if not awkward, note. We each got to apologize to each other for everything. Max for the abuse, me for witching. Yeah, I used to witch about that guy to other people like it was a national sport. We both agreed to let each other know if Sam ever contacted them again. I finally asked him about the real reason he got punted out of his apartment, and it turns out that the story Sam gave me was a lie.
Of course it was.
Who could have guessed? And it turns out Max's girlfriend was actually cheating on him. Hence his dramatically sudden and insulting exit from their apartment. He said it wasn't an excuse, but an explanation for why he had such a volatile reaction to my refusal to let him stay. As combined with the things Sam told him about my cheating and isolating tactics, he felt as though Sam was going through a similar thing to him. I assured him that I'd long forgiven him, that Sam was a big enough scapegoat for all of us to move forward regardless of everything else, and that I'd see him next dinner party our friends hosted. Yeah, I know many people wanted me to ditch them, but after Sam's lies were revealed and they realized they'd all been affected, they banded together and pretty effectively punted them out of their lives. It hasn't been easy navigating the tensions in the wake of Sam, especially given that there's now no mediator to diffuse tensions. But the silver lining is that there's also no narcissist who will use those tensions to his own advantage and pit people against each other. I'm just taking it slow and not expecting too much. In personal news, though, I took a lot of advice in the comments about joining local groups to make friends. Daisy is also slightly friendless since she's been abroad for so long, and I didn't think it was a good idea to bring her into my friend group of uni friends during such a tumultuous time.
Yeah.
I don't know how to refer to them since they only became my main friend group after I graduated and started dating Sam again. But regardless, Daisy doesn't know them very well, and I don't think their personalities would match, so I guess they're going to look for something else. By the way, you should never look for anywhere else to get your daily dose of stories because you can listen to our podcasts every day by just searching up OK Storytime wherever you get your podcasts.
Ain't that the truth?
So instead, we've been going to a couple of paint and sip sessions, gigs, bars, and other fun places here and there. It's been amazing watching our friendship blossom despite everything, and I just need to reiterate again that she is the loveliest human ever, and I am so lucky. Okay, that is the end of the update and probably the final one, since I don't see anything crazier happening this time around. I hope everyone who has supported me thus far is experiencing success, good health, and even better friendships. I will continue to reply to comments as much as I can and check DMs. Thank you so much, everyone, for all the engagement, good and bad, and for supporting my growth.
Wow. Wow.
And that is where that ends.
Good golly goobers. That was a roller coaster. But you know what? I do kind of like where we landed.
I love where we landed.
Yes.
I'm glad that Sam was found out, and I'm kind of glad that OP has that whole friend group back, and now maybe has the beginnings of another friend group, which is kind of cool.
I love to see it.
We'd love to see
I
it.
love to see it. Healthy. She reinvested herself in a healthy way and didn't go down the rabbit hole of revenge.
Yep.
Yes.
Our friends tried to ruin our wedding, but they just ended up ruining their own. I, 38 male, have been married to Mike, 35-year-old male, for 3 years, together for 12 years.
Wow.
Long relationship. We are very quiet, nerdy, nature-loving guys, not into flashy displays or drama at all. It was the tail end of the pandemic, and since the borders were partially open, we decided to road trip to
Gibraltar.
So they decided to road trip to Gibraltar and elope.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good eloping. The pandemic was a great excuse not to invite anyone to our wedding and just do what we wanted. And by the way, this comes from U-UKA40 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So when we told our lesbian friends, D, 45-year-old female, and Ann, 60-year-old female, a fun age gap.
Slay.
Big slay. What we were doing, they decided on the spot that we were going to have a double wedding and immediately started taking over, suggesting a bunch of trashy, expensive things we didn't want. We initially decided that we'd get a rental car together and split it 4 ways, with Mike and Dee splitting the driving. A month before the wedding, Dee and Ann decided it'd be cheaper to take the train, well, 6 trains actually, across 3 countries. That's kind of fun. But I immediately said no, and it turned out Dee didn't even have her driver's license and had been driving illegally for years. Mike offered to do all the driving if they split the rental car with us. They declined because it was too expensive and took the train instead. Obviously, it went terribly for them. Trains were canceled, tickets were lost, and they missed out on an entire night in Gibraltar because they were stuck at a random train station in the Spanish countryside. Mike and I had a wonderful road trip and spent a magical night in an Airbnb in Cartagena on the way.
Just picking this up.
Cartagena. Their main tickets cost more than half of the rental car. We initially agreed to get a really fancy Airbnb in Gibraltar with a hot tub and all that stuff. Split 4 ways, we could get something really nice. Well, Anne decided she wanted a real hotel and pulled out of the Airbnb plan after it was booked. That's pretty rude.
Yeah, that's messed up. You can't do it after it was booked.
I found a gorgeous little 1-bedroom place for us with a hot tub and a view of the sea. Dee and Anne forgot to book a real hotel and ended up in a freaking awful place by the port, like a place for merchant sailors to crash while they're in port. It was on a busy roundabout opposite Burger King. So romantic. There was no bath, no balcony, and it was basic AF. It was more expensive than our lovely place. Ooh. That sucks.
That sucks.
They got no sleep because of the drunk sailors and traffic noise. They didn't even get any towels provided. The night before the wedding, we met for dinner. They'd barely been in Gibraltar for 2 hours, whereas we've been relaxing since the day before with our bath. At dinner, things were tense, but Dee was really trying. At some point, she signaled to the restaurant host, and the lady came over with a super fancy VIP bucket with champagne on ice. She popped the cork and gave it to Dee, who handed it to Anne, saying, "Just like the one I gave you in New York, baby." Oh, It was clearly supposed
Cork?
to be the champagne.
Oh.
Baby, remember that other cork I gave you?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was clearly supposed to be a romantic moment and refused the cork.
Yeah, I think it might be the cork.
Why she refused the cork?
I don't know.
The host poured 2 glasses of the champagne and gave the glasses to D and Ann. Ann took a sip and immediately spat it out, announcing loudly, "It's corked." We-
What's
What does
going
that
on
mean?
here? I don't know.
Is that like it went bad?
Yeah, maybe the cork fell in, like it got stuck.
Okay. We all tried the champagne and told her it was delicious. Mike and I don't really drink, but we know what champagne tastes like, and insisted the champagne was corked and loudly announced they weren't paying for it. It's corked.
I don't drink alcohol, so I need to look this up. The
Corked?
term corked means that the wine has been tainted by a chemical compound
Oh.
called 2,4,6 trichloranisol.
I do not want
That is developed in the cork and transferred into the wine. This can only happen with wine that is sealed with a natural cork, not a synthetic one. The more you know.
The more you know. She threatened to call the police, like the manager, the host did. So D sheepishly paid for it. Yeah. So she was like, "It's corked. I don't want to pay for it." The host was like, "You better, or we're gonna call the police on you." So D paid for it and sulked the rest of the night. I was so embarrassed, and our whole evening was spoiled. Wow, nothing's going well for this eloping.
How are you gonna not pay for $750? Why did you even pay for $750 wine?
Yeah. And sulked the rest of the night. I was so embarrassed, and our whole evening was spoiled. When we got back to our Airbnb to take a bubble bath and eat
Bubble bath.
bubble bath,
Jaffa cakes.
to eat
Yum.
Java cakes.
I've never had a Jaffa cake.
I don't know if I've had it. I told Mike there was no way I was going to allow them to ruin another minute of our trip, but if they wanted to ruin theirs, that wasn't my problem.
Damn.
The actual weddings went off okay, apart from the fact that they were still drunk from the night before. Why?
They were drunk at their wedding?
Why you get so drunk? Because they were just like, F this, I need to get
Yeah,
super
they were
drunk.
They were like, this is $750 50-pound wine or champagne. We gotta drink it. We're paying for it.
Yeah, honestly, you better drink
Yeah.
that. So the registry office was nice, and I married the man of my dreams.
Slay.
Major slay. Afterwards, we bought them brunch to soak up the booze, and faithfully walked them around the park, taking lovely photos of them. Dee had her finger over the lens of every picture she took of us.
No, she was going like this.
Yeah,
Pulling a little
rookie move.
Pulling a little finger on
Rookie
she's
move
like, oh,
on
these
their
are beautiful.
wedding. That's like
Come on.
that's
But also,
so
why were
bad.
you only taking pictures on like? I don't know. I
What
feel like
was
I would.
elopement.
That's true. I was about to say they were just with friends.
Yeah, it was just the 4 of them.
Yeah.
So when we were done, they suggested we all go to the. And why didn't you look at the photos?
I would have looked. Yeah, I
They're,
would
like,
have
pretty
been like,
important
hey, can you get some more? Your
Without
fingers
your
in
freaking
them.
grubby little
Your
thumb
grubby
in there.
little thumbs
Get
in
that
it.
little thumber out of there. So when we were done, they suggested we all go to the pub and get wasted.
Wasted.
White girl wasted. As if, they said.
What the heck? Okay, now I feel like you're not that fun, Opie.
Are you fun or not? We dropped them off at the pub and went our separate ways. Well, they're just, OP and their
Yeah,
husband
that's
are
they just got
sick of them.
married. Yeah.
And they're just like, F, like these guys.
Yeah, they're gonna
Bad
go to the pub
vibes.
and they're gonna be like, this beer is corked.
It's
like,
corked.
they're like,
That was my
it can't
attempt at
be
Jennifer
corked.
Coolidge. I was honest and just told them I want to be alone with my husband.
That's
Quite
fair.
reasonable.
Take a bubble bath with them.
They couldn't really argue with that. The wedding dinner. Mike, D, and I all had fairly casual preferences for a restaurant for the wedding dinner, but Anne insisted on a fine dining fish restaurant that didn't even serve dessert. How are you going to get your Java cakes?
How are you gonna get your freaking Java cakes?
I outright refused. I don't eat fish at all. Quite reasonable to not want to go there on your
yeah,
your
that's
wedding
fair. I
dinner
guess
then.
if you don't like fish.
Yeah. And Anne was insisting on the fish restaurant, so we decided not to meet up. Fair. Anne also tried to convince us to chip in 200 pounds for a custom wedding cake to get delivered to the restaurant, but we said hell no. Yeah, if you're getting eloped, like who are you trying to impress?
Yeah.
Why do you
Why do
need
you
a
spend all this
$200?
money? Like the point of an elopement is for it to be cheap.
Yeah, but also like if you want to have a expensive elopement, you want
That's
to put
your
money
own
into it,
elopement.
go for it.
Yeah.
But like OP and their husband
Don't
don't
have
want to
to-
do this.
yeah.
Spend a lot of money on things that don't seem to matter at all to
Yeah,
them.
they're like, we want to spend money on a nice Airbnb and
Yeah.
not on like
Champagne
cake and
cake.
champagne. Yeah.
Yeah. They asked us, to spend money on that custom wedding cake, and we were like, hell no. Mike and I went to the best steakhouse in Gibraltar. I had a 1.2 kilo steak. That sounds so good. And an amazing cheesecake for dessert. They got their dessert. We had a lovely time, and the waitstaff went out of their way to spoil us. Around 8 p.m., they messaged us, "Where are you?" And we ignored the message. Message. As it turned out, Anne forgot to make reservations and the fish restaurant was fully booked, but they couldn't leave and go somewhere else because they had to wait for the cake to be delivered.
No.
They're just everything is going
Oh
wrong.
my God. What are they doing?
Oh,
Wait,
I kind of
it
feel
was booked? So they said it was the place was fully booked,
Yeah.
but they couldn't make reservations?
No, so
What just happened there?
they were going to go to this fish restaurant. It was
Yeah.
fully booked, but they couldn't go to somewhere else because the 200-pound cake
You didn't
was getting delivered
You
there.
didn't check to see if it was booked before you delivered a cake there? What?
On your wedding. It's
On
like
your-
there's not really a lot of room for things to go wrong. They ended up taking the cake back to their crappy hotel and eating it with their credit cards because they didn't even have cutlery and plates in the room.
Okay, I'm sorry. You chose not your hands, which presumably are clean and you can clean. You chose to eat it with credit cards?
Those are so dirty.
They're so dirty.
So dirty.
I don't like these people. You guys suck.
The Airbnb was
Why?
one thing, but
Yeah.
your credit cards?
Your credit cards are disgusting.
Dude, and it's like also almost a wedding thing to like get the cake with your
Yes.
fingers, like put it on your partner's
I'm
cake.
sorry,
It
if I
could have
didn't
been
have cutlery,
romantic.
you're
It
in
could
a
have
pla-
been
yeah.
sensual. It could have been sexual. And then you like put your dirty little credit
Your
cards.
dirty little credit cards. Just use your hands. You
Yeah.
can watch those.
Jeez, guys. This is a
Ugh.
sad visual.
This is-
Quite.
yeah.
They got hammered that night on supermarket vodka. Mike and I had the perfect evening.
Oh my God. I love that OP's just like, and my time was great.
Yeah, they're like, us? Fantastic.
Yeah, I
Them?
took another bubble bath. I ate
Another
some Jaffa
bubble bath,
cakes with
Jaffa
my
cake.
hands.
Quite romantic, sensual, I might add.
We watched a movie. It was beautiful.
Rose petals everywhere. I was with the love of my life.
And
And,
then
they were
they're-
yelling over
they're
cork
like-
champagne.
They're like golluming over a
Yeah.
cake with their credit. They're like, no, it's mine.
I could see like a movie of this, and
Yeah.
it's like romantic
Yeah.
music of like them, and then just cuts to them like yelling, like
Yeah.
trying to eat with a credit card, and like yelling about the cork champagne.
They're like,
I'm
it's
like,
corked. It's corked.
The restaurant's closed. I want my fish.
But what a story they'll have to tell.
I don't think they're gonna be happy with this story. Mike and I had the perfect evening. We got a taxi home, smoked devil's lettuce,
Smoked.
smoked that ganja on our balcony, watched the stars, and kissed for hours. If you want to
Damn.
watch the stars and kiss us for hours, you can join us
Hours.
live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. Okay, my question is, what's the intent of the story?
question
Are they just
here?
like talking crap and
No,
then
she's
like
literally just bragging.
like bragging about her own or their
Yeah.
own eloping?
Because it feels
elopement?
like it didn't really hurt you that much.
I don't think any of this is hurting
I
them.
think
They're
nothing
just
has
like,
really affected you that much.
I don't even think they're mad.
No,
I think they're
she's
just
like,
like,
"That sucks,
idiots.
I don't have any other thoughts
I
on
think
this. I guess like good for you.
We're done discussing. The next day, Mike and I set out for a day of hiking in the UNESCO World Heritage Site National Park. It was the best day ever. Mike got robbed and bitten by a monkey, which was effing hilarious. We ate a full English breakfast in the Sky restaurant and explored St. Michael's Cave. Unforgettable memories were made. Dee and Anne fought, decided it was Gibraltar's fault, and spontaneously, decided to leave. They booked a beach resort up the coast somewhere in Spain and headed on foot to the train station. They were like, this place sucks.
They're like, something about Gibraltar is cursed.
yeah.
We need to get out of here.
There's monkeys and bad champagne. We're leaving.
They stole my husband's
No forks here either. Only credit cards.
only credit cards.
The trains were all messed up. They got stranded somewhere in Spain with all their luggage. This is so sad.
What a just
Crap show.
series of unfortunate events.
Honestly.
Call Lemony Snicket because these people are going through
They
something.
really are. So it took them 14 hours to get to the resort. They arrived at 11 p.m. and were checked out the next morning. Mike and I spent a few more nights enjoying our honeymoon and the road trip home. We stayed in the same little place in Cartagena on the way back, and the host threw us a little surprise party. It was magical. Dee and Anne got stranded again on the way home, lost half of their luggage, and caught COVID.
Oh
This is
my
a
god.
joke.
Oh
This isn't
my
made up.
god.
This is
isn't even,
crazy.
honestly, at this point, this isn't even Dee and Anne's fault. This is like,
Yeah, this is the universe.
this
is
is
just like,
the
F
universe.
these
It's like, I
people.
hate you guys.
Honestly.
I honestly feel like maybe their champagne was corked. I feel
Yeah,
like maybe
possibly.
it was.
But it's gotten so bad
Yeah.
that potentially the champagne was corked.
It might have been corked.
That's the end of the story.
Damn.
What was
So-
the point of that?
Well, someone said the point of it was a geography lesson. I caught my fiance and best friend cheating on me, but I've been paying all their bills.
Oh,
Ooh,
no.
you're funding the affair. I, female 23, just found out that my fiance, male 23, is cheating on me with my best friend, female 23, who I've known since we were in diapers. Ouch. Ouch. By the way, this comes from Deleted on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Today I left for a trip to attend a business meeting, and 2 hours later, my sister sent me a video of my fiance and my BFF making out outside of Starbucks. I'm absolutely heartbroken, and I have no idea how to process this. We were together for 3 years, and our wedding is in 2 months, and this girl has been by my side since birth. I don't have memories without her. I'm trying to explain the pain I feel right now, but I can't. How am I supposed to express this crap? I've gone over my relationship and my friendship a million times this past 3 hours, and I just can't understand. I also didn't get how you can backstab someone who is paying for your college, rent, and car. Oh, you're doing too much, girl. Her parents couldn't afford it, so I've been financially supporting her for the last 3 years. And him, he lives in my apartment free of charge because I wanted him to save his paycheck so he can start his own business like he always wanted. I'm doing 90% of the chores because I wanted him to relax after work, and I am 100% responsible for our 4 dogs. Plus, I've been paying his mom's mortgage for a year.
Oh! What job do you have, OP? What are we doing for a living, OP?
How at 23, how are you doing all this?
What?
I am so stupid. How could I be so stupid? We never had any fights, and until now, I was under the impression that we were happy. I mean, he made me breakfast every morning and always made sure to tell me how happy and lucky he feels to have me in his life, and we can't imagine not being with me. This man has been sending me I love you texts every dang hour. I don't get how he can do this, and with my BFF out of all people. How can she do this? It's not like it's some random girl that didn't know he has a girlfriend. It's my best friend. She has been helping me plan the wedding, all while having an affair with my future husband. I'm supposed to drive back home right now, but I'm sitting in my car at a gas station crying and asking myself, WTF is going on? I'm physically in pain. I'm confused. I'm in shock. I'm writing this hoping it will help get it out so I can think about my next move and drive my butt home safely. I'm sorry if this is a mess, but I'm a mess right now. Any advice on how I should navigate this is very much needed and appreciated. Edit to add that I am doing a to-do list because thanks to you, I've realized there's a lot to take care of. Also, I'm going to stay at a hotel until I'm calmed down so I can drive home. Little update, I've been talking to lawyers for hours and we're making sure that my ex does have any right to my place because apparently he's lived with me long enough to be able to file a claim. Also, I've canceled all payments that aren't for me. Good job. That was a bit tricky and took a long time, but it's done. I've moved all the money from our shared account into my personal account, and the bank reassured me that if any of them calls, the bank can't give out any info because it's in my name. That's nice. That's lucky.
Oh, wow.
I did, however, take precautions and texted them that the bank called me and froze the account by mistake so they know they can't use it. I've done so many things this morning that I can't even remember them all, but I read the majority of your comments. By the way, thank you so much for all the support you guys showed me. I took the advice of all the people that commented and I've sorted out maybe 40 to 50% of this mess. I'm now at the point where I have to tell everyone, go home, confront them, and kick them out of my life. I'm at my sister's right now typing this out. My sister and a couple of her friends came over and cleaned the apartment of everything that was his, except for the things I got him. And they're currently in the trash bags outside. My sister's boyfriend's dad was nice enough to change the locks. I'm not going back there. I'm going to rent an apartment until this settles down, and then I'm going to sell the apartment and buy a house because my dogs deserve a backyard. Yeah, can you even have 4 dogs in an apartment?
I don't know. Dude,
That's a
it
lot.
seems like OP can do whatever she wants. Like she's getting into a new apartment, selling that apartment, gonna get a house soon.
Yeah.
OP, dude, OP, you can do whatever you gotta do.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Taking care of it. I also have security cameras, so if he shows up or tries anything, I'll know. Now, after I calmed down, I decided I want to be petty, so I'm going to report the car as stolen, considering it's only in my name. I'm going to go over to his mom's and talk to her in person because she's honestly been nothing but great, and I do feel bad about ghosting her. So I'll go talk to her after I'm done updating you guys. I'm not planning on confronting any of them because I think that will only disturb me more. We have a group chat with everyone at the wedding. I'm planning on just sending the videos in the chat. So are we doing a surprise like at the altar?
No. She's not going to do any more because that'll cost her more money to do the wedding. So she's going to, in the group chat, like, hey, so like, mom's going to text, hey, so like, when are we going to like pick out our dresses?
Yeah. And she's going to, boom, here's my ex making out with my best friend. My lawyer and I are also going over all my convos with them, looking for any messages where they said they would pay me back for something, thanks to the person that suggested this in the comments. And I think you'll be very happy to know that I have proof of her saying that she will pay me back for her college expenses. That's good. Oh my gosh. Yay. I think that's it for now. I'll be back later. I talked to his mom and she was shocked when I told her. She's told me she's going to cut him off and he can take his cheating butt to his cheating dad. I don't know if she's actually going to cut him, but that's what she said. We cried together and kept apologizing.
Yeah, low key, I don't think she's manipulative, but if she was manipulative, she may have said that in order for you to keep paying her mortgage.
That's an interesting take. I wouldn't have thought about that.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't have thought about that.
I'm traumatized.
I sent the video of them making out in the wedding group chat and then I blocked their numbers. I have no desire to speak to them ever. I did report the car as stolen and she got arrested. I'm almost done with the wedding cancellation. I'm not getting too much back since the wedding was so close. I'm going to finally get some sleep now. And there is another update.
I'm so glad the wedding was this close before that happened.
So glad the wedding like didn't happen. That would be like she could get something back at least.
Yeah.
That's good. That's just such a hard situation, but she's handling it like a pro.
She really is.
And I like that she sent the video to the group chat, be like, boom.
There it is.
Because honestly, that's a good idea too, because I feel like we've heard a lot of stories where they like call off the wedding and then the person that effed up is like spreading lies about OP, you know? And
like
so
before, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like turning them against OP. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like in this situation, she's just like, boom.
There it is.
Before you can even ask,
the news
this
first.
is some info. Breaking news. Cheating boyfriend, fiance. And then there you go. You can make your assumptions from that. Hi, guys. After my last update, I decided since I'm not getting my money back on the venue, I will keep the reservation and have the party. Most of my ex's family and friends shunned him after seeing the video and they've reached out to apologize for what he's done. My ex BFF's family is not speaking to her either. Wow. So the BFF, because she's a homewrecker, her own family is also not talking to her. So what's she gonna do? She lost her income, which is basically OP, and then her family. I'm sure she's got some sort of job. But I've also found out today from my ex's cousin, who, by the way, knew about the affair, that my ex quit his job around the same time he moved in. So unfortunately for him, he doesn't have any savings. Boom! The ex doesn't even have his own money. That's amazing. But also, like, crappy that he quit the job and didn't even tell OP. That's insane.
Because this guy is...
piece of work.
All he knows is how to do is kiss girls and make breakfast.
Yeah. I don't know what he did in the time I thought he was working, but my guess is that he was with his mistress. My ex showed up to my apartment, but he left after my neighbor said that she'll call the police. Dude, W neighbor. That's awesome. I don't know or care where he is. I blocked him after I sent the video. I'm going to move to a different city. I've been looking at houses and I think I found the perfect one. Oh, great. I need to make some arrangements to move from my office to working from home, but I'm actually excited. I've found a therapist in the city I want to move in and I can't wait to have my first session. I don't know if or when I'm going to update, but I really want to thank you all for your help and support. I've been trying to reply to everyone, but I have hundreds of comments and messages. Thank you so much. I'm shocked with the feedback my post received. Thank you for the awards as well. But you can award us with your presence when you join us live on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Facebook every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Easy enough.
There's an update number 2. There's another update.
Oh, wow. I'm going to get one thought before we get into the update.
Okay.
I feel like we need a period of grieving before we make big decisions like this.
Like moving to another city?
Yeah.
Or is that the best time to make big decisions like that?
I agree. I think it's both. Whatever you're feeling, it's just...
I think it depends.
Yeah, because sometimes when people grieve, they maybe make a decision that they might regret later.
Yeah.
But OP is young enough, seems to have enough money to bounce back by whatever decision she chooses.
Right. I really want to know what OP's job is.
Probably a lawyer.
But I get what you're saying. I could see it both ways. I could see, like, on the one hand being like, okay, whoa, don't make any rash decisions. But at the same time, I think I've heard of situations where people are like, they want to make some sort of drastic change to, I don't know, sometimes feel like they have more control or something. Some people cut their hair. Some people shave off their eyebrows. But yeah, I feel like sometimes just a big change like that can be helpful and needed. Let's get into this update. Hi guys, I'm doing very well. I love the new house and the situation finally settled. I did manage to get quite a large portion of the money I've spent on these two disgusting people.
Oh my gosh.
Therapy has really helped me deal with everything. Except for the court, I haven't seen or spoken to any of them. Thank you for all the support and all the comments and messages. This is going to be my last update, so thank you and goodbye. And that's it for that story.
Dang, I'm glad you got that money back.
Dude, me too. That's
huge.
That's one of those things that it's like once the feelings settle, that's the thing that you care about. It's like, I spent all this money. It's just a waste, you know?
That is really tough.
Yeah. She's handling it like a pro. I'm proud of you, OP. I'm so glad that you're doing better and that everything is settled now. But yeah, that's the end of that story.
Yep.
My friend keeps copying details of my life, even my medical condition.
Even my medical condition.
Even my medical condition.
Even my medical condition.
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Me too.
And just someone and I just need someone to tell me I'm not crazy. My friend, let's call her Stacy, has always had this strange habit of mimicking me. But recently, it's gone from slightly annoying to deeply unsettling.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum. It's like she's trying to become me. And I don't know how to deal with it anymore. By the way, this comes from Creative Device 6764 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I, 25 female, and Stacy, 24 female. Stacy is a fun person to be around. We've been friends for over 5 years now. She comes over and I let her borrow my clothes or give clothes that I don't want anymore.
Okay.
Big mistake. I don't really like her style, but she lets me borrow her clothes when I want. So I knew she had a tendency to lie. But the lies were harmless. At least I thought so.
Oh, no.
So we've been friends for almost 5 years now. Sometimes it feels like she was just joking or trying to make herself seem more interesting. I ignored it, which in hindsight was a mistake. Over time, though, the lies became more frequent. And I started to notice how they revolved around me.
Oh, God.
We were fine and our friendship was good, but I started to feel weird about her when my sister messaged me, saying Stacy had been talking smack behind my back. She was telling people that I kicked her out of my condo and that I had men constantly coming in and out of my place, making her feel unsafe while she was there. Big lie, by the way. This is what actually happened. Also, Sophia, can you change the goal of likes to 750 likes?
Yes, I can do that. Okay.
So here's what actually happened. Stacy had come to my city while I was back in my hometown. She was staying with another friend, but that arrangement fell through. Maybe because she's a dirty liar who's always trying to steal people's skin.
That's true.
Invasion of the body snatchers.
She's a skinwalker.
She's a skinwalker.
If you want us to tell stories about those, let us know as well.
Ooh, spooky. Dakota's wanted to do some
really
spooky stories.
Because okay.
He wants
anyway,
this.
let's get back.
Without asking, she started bringing all her stuff to my place without asking. She didn't book a return flight home and didn't ask if she could stay long term. She's just like, I'm here, and I don't care who knows.
Yep.
My roommate does not like Stacy because she's messy. She leaves her clothes everywhere and doesn't clean up after herself. The last time she stayed over, she overstayed her welcome by a week, and I didn't know when she planned to leave. This time, my roommate was coming back the next day, and I knew she wouldn't want Stacy staying with us. I politely asked Stacy if she could stay somewhere else. Explaining the situation, Stacy, freaking leave.
Yeah.
She said it was fine and that she'd stay with another friend. But apparently, she turned around and told that friend all the lies my sister relayed to me about the men coming in and out of her place.
No.
So now on to the mirroring. This is the first bit.
Yeah, the first bit is like weird lying that sounds like jealousy.
Yeah.
But it's like you're jealous. I mean, like you're jealous of things that didn't even happen. Like,
well, it's like it's weird lying, and also like your friend just gave you a place to stay for a while, and you're totally crapping on that.
Why would you do that?
So, the copying was done over long periods of time. We've been friends for 5 years now, but I only started noticing it about a year ago. So here are some of the instances I felt like she was copying me. I told her I was going to manage my parents' business. A week later, she told everyone she was going to manage her parents' business too. That never happened.
So she's bad at copying you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can't even execute the copying.
I said I was moving to a city to finish college. Suddenly, she was telling people she was moving to the same city for college. Never frickin' happened.
You should do another thing where you're like, yeah, and I'm gonna give my friend all of my money and belongings.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, no.
And I'm giving my friend all my
I guess I'll have to do that
Prove
too.
it. Show me. Show me the bank transfer.
Mm-hmm.
I started looking for styling jobs and internships. A week later, she told me she got a styling job. Guess what, Dakota? Do you think it happened?
I would bet every cent to my name that it didn't.
It never happened. There were other instances that were small, like I got a new phone, and she immediately blurts out that she's going to get a new phone, but for free for some guy. Or like I got a tattoo from this popular tattoo artist, and she will immediately say that that tattoo artist messaged her for a tattoo session, but she was in the hospital, so she couldn't go. Things like that. At first, I brushed it off, thinking maybe she just wanted to feel included. But the pattern of claiming to do what I'm doing without actually following through kept happening.
This is like, I would be scared.
Because I think there's admiration for sure that Stacey feels for OP, but it's coming out in this real weird way. What's single white female? I've seen that a couple. Tia, Canadian Tia sounds like single white female. What is that?
A movie.
Oh, it's a movie.
You know what this sounds like the beginning of though? Misery by Stephen King.
Single white
I don't know what that
female. The young woman
know
quickly
about
forms
Misery?
a bond, but as Allison starts to rethink her... Oh, wait, sorry. Allison Jones welcomes new roommate, Hedra Carlson. The young woman quickly forms a bond, but as Allison starts to rethink her engagement, Hedra grows jealous and hostile. As Allison learns new details about her roommate's life, Hedra gets violent in her efforts to get Sam out of the picture. With Hedra turning more menacing by the minute, Allison finally understands what she's up against.
Yeah. Misery is like an author gets meets a fan, like a super fan, and then she like takes him back to her cabin and like chains him up and is like kind of like holding him hostage. Not very. And his
Can you
ankles have a
guys-
bad time.
Hey, I love
Spoiler.
our relationship here. Can you please never do that to me?
Yeah.
Please.
Don't ever do that to anybody, ever.
Anyone.
Nobody.
But if you're going to do it to someone, just like do it to someone else you're a fan of. Just not us.
Yeah.
Just not the squad.
I mean, don't do that to anybody.
Yeah, don't do that to anybody.
Don't do that to anybody.
But especially not us.
Extra, not us.
Extra, not us. So I've always been someone who works hard and takes pride in being productive. I get that a little mirroring is normal in friendships, but Stacey's behavior felt different. She's someone who doesn't have much direction in life. She hasn't finished high school, has no real plans or passions, and doesn't put effort into learning skills that could lead to a career. I tried to be patient, but things escalated in a way I didn't expect. She copied my medical condition.
No, that's just. It gets grosser and grosser and grosser. Like, scared. I'm scared. I am getting scared. I just was like, should we read scary stories? I'm getting scared. This is a scary story.
Yeah, no, you got your wish. This is like stalking to the max.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ah. Ah.
Okay.
She copied my medical condition. This was the tipping point. In a situation I have never been in, and I felt so creeped out about it. About a year ago, I had a partial salpingectomy due to an infection in my fallopian tube. Chat,
I'm looking that up.
what is salpingectomy?
I think a salpingectomy is probably they take the salping out.
Salpingectomy is a surgical procedure that removes one or both fallopian tubes. The fallopian tubes are we know what the fallopian
Well,
tubes are.
the Latin name for fallopian tube is the what was it?
Salping?
Yeah, that one.
It was one of the most painful experiences of my life. My tube ruptured
Ooh.
and the infection spread throughout my body. Sepsis, I believe it's called.
Ooh.
Luckily,
Yeah,
I
that is
was-
what that's called.
yeah.
I know that one's actually true. That's what that one's called.
So they removed my tube and I started antibiotics. What?
Sorry, just the way you said. So they removed my tube. It just made me laugh. I'm sorry. It's not funny. You had sepsis. That's a really serious medical condition.
Deadly Gamer says that's sad. It removes fallopian tube just like a hysterectomy is for the uterus.
Yeah. I feel like usually hysterectomies are like done later on.
Aaliyah, Dakota, your knowledge of the female body amazes us.
What can I say? I'm an amazing guy.
So, even so, my doctor told me I might struggle to have children in the future. It was traumatic, and the recovery process was long and emotional.
Yeah.
Well, a few weeks ago, Stacy went to the hospital. I messaged her to ask what happened, but she just sent a selfie of herself in a hospital bed. I was busy with finals, so I didn't follow up right away. 2 days later, she messaged me again saying she was exhausted from being in the hospital for 4 days.
There's straight up no way that this person, after this person had a legitimate traumatizing medical experience, was just like, can't believe I've been in the hospital.
Too.
Let me get, doctor, bring that light in here. Yeah. I need good lighting.
Hospital check.
Oh.
So 2 days later, she messaged me saying she was exhausted from being in the hospital for 4 days. I asked what was wrong, and she said she had the same condition I did, and I was shocked.
Dude,
She claimed she had a ruptured cyst in her fallopian tube that became infected, almost went into heart failure, and needed a blood transfusion. She said she was supposed to have surgery, but they didn't proceed because of her weak condition. I immediately knew she was lying. If your fallopian tube is infected and ruptured, surgery isn't optional. It's freaking mandatory.
Yes.
I'm not a doctor, but after my experience, I did a lot of research, and what she described just didn't make sense. Now, here's the thing. I told people I had a ruptured cyst because I didn't know how else to explain my condition and not get into the gross details. You say cyst, and people don't really ask anymore. Truth is, it was a really bad infection that only escalated because of my IUD. The infection grew in my fallopian tube and got so big, they thought it was a cyst at first, hence why I just called it a cyst. And I did mention to her that it's a good thing I was in the hospital because if all that happened and I got sepsis, it could cause heart failure. I feel like she only mirrored what I said, except tried to make her condition seem worse. Nothing she said made any sense. She was in the hospital, but the reasons why she was there sound like all made up. Even on a group call while she was still in the hospital, she was listing medications to herself, almost as if she was trying to convince us it was real. She also later told us a story about how she jumped on the hospital bed when her brother came to visit. Who does that after a life-threatening emergency? Yeah, who does that?
I've never even pictured in my head somebody jumping on their hospital bed.
Like, a liar. A liar
no,
says that.
That's crazy.
She's just built different.
Yep. Say it again. Hit it.
She's just built different.
Yeah, she's built different. At this point, I felt insane because who lies about something like this? Am I crazy? Is she copying me? Is she really a bad friend? Am I imagining all of it, reading into it too much? Is it bad if I don't want to be friends with her anymore? She's my friend and I want to help her, but it's hard to approach her if all she does is lie. You don't need to be friends with her.
You know, you never have to be friends with anybody.
If they don't make you feel good, you don't need to be friends with them.
Yeah, and if they're like mimicking you to a point where it's like genuinely disturbing, which I think we have reached.
It is disturbing.
Long ago, we reached disturbing. But this is just like the final cherry on top. No, you're
Brandy
not crazy.
Logson says it's because she wants to be her and she's jelly. Definitely a lot of jealousy.
This person's not your friend. This person is just like has developed some kind of infatuation with you. They don't have anything going on in their own life. And so they are attaching onto an idealized version of you.
Yeah.
And they just think that they can absorb your life through just like
how
osmosis.
Is she a good friend? How is she a good friend? What is she doing besides copying every move? She's literally just a mirror.
Oh, don't forget, she's taking your clothes.
Yeah, and she's taking your clothes.
Which is like the number one hallmark of a friendship is...
Next, she'll take your eyes.
Next, she'll take your eyes.
She's my friend, and I want to help her, but it's hard to approach her if all she does is lie. But I don't want to lie to you guys. We go live every weekday exactly at 3 p.m. PST.
Never any earlier. Never any later.
I want to distance myself from her, but we have mutual friends, and I know she'll spread more lies about me if I pull away. Has anyone dealt with a friend like this? How do you create distance without creating unnecessary drama? Edit, I want to add a few hours ago, she just posted in her story a screenshot of a course list of subjects that is the same as the course I'm taking right now. She has never shown interest in my course, so this is really weird. I wonder if she's just messing with me at this point. And that's
At
where
this,
the story-
my in-laws won't acknowledge me as their son's wife, so my husband called them out for it. My husband, Robbie, 26 male, and I, 26 female, got married earlier this year. It was a beautiful day, and I felt so much love and support from both sides of our family. 2 months after our wedding day, we celebrated my birthday at my in-laws' house. It was nothing major, just a dinner and a night together with me, my husband, his mom, 50, dad, 50, and sister, 22. By the way, this comes from user Faxed on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, this is the first night I noticed them referring to me as Robbie's best friend.
That's so weird.
After my birthday dinner, we were all sitting together in the living room, just chatting and having some drinks. That's when my sister-in-law got a phone call from a good friend of hers. When she answered the phone and her friend asked what she was doing, she replied that it was her brother's best friend's birthday. I had never heard anyone refer to me as Robbie's best friend. I am his wife. And before that, we were engaged for over 2 years. Hearing my sister-in-law refer to me like that confused me greatly. I always refer to her as my sister-in-law, and I would expect her to do the same. Or maybe even as Robbie's wife, but certainly not best friend. After my sister-in-law hung up her phone, I asked her why she referred to me the way that she did. She did not seem at all abashed. She just said, "Well, you are best friends. And that's what mom and dad call you," referring to the mother-in-law and father-in-law. My sister-in-law and I are by no means very close, but we are nice to each other and have never had any fights. We just don't hang out outside of our family functions because our personalities are pretty different. She's never made it seem like she was annoyed or mad at me. I just decided to let it go that night, even though it weirded me out. But then it all happened again a few days ago, which is why I'm writing this post. My mother-in-law and I both work in the same industry doing similar jobs, but at different companies in the area. Sometimes our companies collaborate when we have clients who switch over. This week we had that happen, and I had to pay a visit to my mother-in-law's office to help a client transition. My mother-in-law was in the office, so I stopped by to say hello. While I was there, she introduced me to her colleague, and once again I was perplexed by how she did it. She said, "This is my son's best friend."
Literally stop. It's not cute.
As I was shaking hands with the colleague, I paused and awkwardly said, "I'm his wife." The colleague looked confused, but my mother-in-law continued to smile and didn't address it. Once we were alone, I asked my mother-in-law why she referred to me like that. Just like my sister-in-law, she didn't seem to act like it was weird at all and said the same thing. "Well, you are best friends." The only thing that I can think to explain this is that in my vows to Robbie, I promised to continue being his best friend. Nobody acted like this was odd or special, and I feel like it's a pretty common thing to put in your vows. So I'm not sure why Robbie's family seems to have clung to it unless it has nothing to do with anything or everything. I've spoken to Robbie about this too, and he is also perplexed by it. He asked his parents privately about it, and they gave him the same answer they've been giving me. It all just feels like some sort of bullying behavior to me, but I've never felt a sense of this from them before. Are they calling me his best friend because they don't like the fact that I'm his wife?
I think you just need to have a conversation with them and be like, "Hey, do you mind referring to me this way, please?"
Yeah, it's
Just like
you-
outright say it.
I know it. I'm his best friend. I know, that's cute. I'm his wife.
I'm his wife.
Can you please
Call me his wife.
Can I at least get one time of you guys calling me his wife?
Say it with me.
Wife.
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 You can even say it like Borat.
Wife.
My wife. Are they calling me his best friend because they don't like the fact I'm his wife? Or is it some kind of inside joke they've been in on without me? I'm not sure what to do or make of it, especially because the in-laws are acting like it's not an issue when I bring it up. Yes, I am Robbie's best friend, but I'm also his life partner and their daughter-in-law / sister-in-law. I don't know what to do. Any input or advice would be welcome. And we have an update
Oh, man.
2 days after the initial post. But I mean, yeah, I think you just say that you would like them to stop. Explicitly tell them,
Yeah.
Stop doing that. I know that it's weird maybe that I'm asking you to stop, but I think it's weird that you guys keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So please just introduce me to people as his wife.
Yeah, and if they keep going, then you get the husband.
Yeah.
You get the husband involved.
I would make it weird, like, oh, I'm his best friend, but we do spicy stuff together.
Yeah, I sleep
Yeah.
with this guy.
Thanks to everyone who offered helpful advice and to those who have been kind in sharing their own experiences. I'm sorry to hear that this is not exactly a unique experience. Unfortunately for my relationship with Robbie's family, crap has hit the fan. Oh no! Yesterday afternoon, Robbie and I were invited over to his parents' house for dinner. I have a big project to do this week at work, so I needed to stay home and wrap it up. I told Robbie to go catch up with his family while I order a pizza. Apparently, this is when Robbie decided he was going to set things straight and figure out why his mom and sister keep referring to me as his, quote, best friend. Please keep in mind that I'm telling this story based on the details that my husband has given me. Robbie had a normal dinner with his folks, but they were all drinking a bit more than usual. Robbie decided to bring over some scotch that one of his groomsmen gave him for a wedding gift, so him and his dad were especially loose that evening. Robbie and his dad tend to have guy time together after dinners where they hang out in his dad's garage and talk about car stuff and projects at home/work. This is where Robbie confronted his dad about the whole situation, which is weird because the dad wasn't really involved.
Yeah, it doesn't say. It seems like it was the mom and the sister who said this, right?
So I guess maybe he's trying to
But-
skirt around it.
However, we do know that the sister said, well, mom and dad call her that.
Oh, yeah,
Call
that
you
is
that.
true. Mom and dad do say that you're the bestie. From what I can tell, it took some coaxing to get this information out of the father-in-law, but eventually he admitted to Robbie that my mother-in-law and sister-in-law and him were all in on some sort of bet as to how long mine and Robbie's marriage was going to last.
That was the worst option.
Only, I
That's
don't know.
ridiculous. That is disgusting behavior.
Let's see what happens after that.
Yep.
The father-in-law bet that we would stay together, whereas the mother-in-law bet less than a year, and sister-in-law bet less than 6 months.
Okay, so in order
Oh,
of how
wait.
bad they are, what?
Apparently there was a cash prize involved.
Ah!
They were betting cashola on how long the marriage was going to last.
At least the dad bet on him, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
still
The
bad.
underdog.
Still bad.
What was the over under here, guys?
I took the over.
He's like,
Don't be mad at me, son. I took the
he's
over.
like, son, I supported you. Yes, I was involved in the betting, but I supported you.
I was going to give you the money after I won it. I don't really want to know how much
I do.
the cash prize was.
Well, I think $5 versus $100 is different.
The father-in-law admitted that he believes the whole best friend moniker was a way to get under my skin and cause doubts about my relationship with Robbie and his family.
They're freaking, cheating at their own bet.
They're
They're influencing
manipulating.
the results here.
They're
This is illegal betting.
Yeah, in Vegas they wouldn't let you cash this one. They think that if they acted like it was a non-issue for long enough, that it would drive me crazy and start making me angry at Robbie for not intervening. Robbie then says he stormed into the house to confront his mom about all of this. It ended in a screaming match between Robbie, the mother-in-law, and the father-in-law. Robbie eventually stormed out and walked to a nearby gas station, and from there, he called me for a ride since he couldn't drive. This morning, when I drove Robbie back to get his car, we had a horribly awkward confrontation with his parents. Mother-in-law is apparently pissed at father-in-law for betraying the secret, and they were fighting about it all night. Father-in-law will be staying with us in our extra bedroom for a couple days, or until they can calm down and talk to each other again.
Whoa.
And if you ever need to calm down, you can talk to us when we go live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
Maybe instead of getting mad at your husband for letting the secret out,
Maybe you should be mad at yourself for being a terrible
don't have
parent.
secret bets about how long your son's marriage is gonna last, and then actively try to make his wife mad at him.
Dakota, but how am I supposed to make money?
Money.
How
But
am I
what about
supposed
my
to
money?
make money if I can't bet on my children?
How about you go I don't know, hey, bet on literally anything else.
Literally anything else.
Literally bet your entire life savings on anything else.
Yeah. These parents are terrible and I hate them.
That's just what a betrayal.
What a betrayal.
Ultimate betrayal.
Honeybee says OP needs to bet on mom and dad's marriage.
Yeah, for real. Start betting
yeah.
on theirs.
Yeah, just start calling them best friends.
Yeah.
Switch it up. See how they like
That's the
it.
thing that makes me so mad. I'd never forgive them.
Yeah.
They were actively trying to foil my own marriage
Mm-hmm.
behind my back. I apologize if I made anyone deaf. I was upset, but I've collected myself.
God,
Yeah.
he's so
Okay.
handsome.
Robbie is now set on going no contact with his mom and sister. He is angry with his father, but is more willing to forgive him. Personally, I would prefer it if we saw a family therapist before doing this, but we are still ironing out the details. Hopefully, we can get through this with both marriages intact. And that is the end of that story.
Man, oh man. What a tale.
What is that? What is the mother-in-law going to tell the therapist when they go? Being
Yeah,
like,
we bet on our
so
son's
why did you
marriage."
separate? Because he bet the over on my son's marriage and then told him about it like an idiot.
Stupid man, and now we don't trust each other anymore. I don't know. I have more faith in you, OP, your marriage, than I do in your mother-in-law. and your
Yeah,
father-in-law's.
absolutely. OP doesn't deserve to have these
And
sort of underminers in his life.
No, get them out of your life, OP.
Yeah.
They suck.
No contact with the mom and the sister. In fact, maybe if it had worked and it had split up the marriage, I'd say Ort Cloud. But now I'm thinking,
I think son.
I think the son. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the son for them.
think the son.
Into
will
the sun.
do.
Just let him go. My boyfriend's friend accused me of aggression, so I asked him to defend me next time.
What's going on here?
I think she meant the boyfriend. Yeah, well, we're going to find out. I, 34 female, and my boyfriend, 33 male, have been together for a little over a year. When I met him, he mentioned he wanted to start a D&D group with his friends. I agreed, even though I didn't know anything about those kinds of games. I wanted to spend time with him and thought it was a good way to meet and integrate with his friends. By the way, this comes from user Potato Queen Fan, and you can submit your stories on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, the D&D group consists of my boyfriend, me, his two best friends who are women, and their boyfriends who have also become my boyfriend's close friends. They've known each other since elementary school, and when he introduced me to them, we seemed to get along well. We completed an entire campaign, which lasts several months for those who don't know, and the last sessions were in November. At this point, my boyfriend and I have been together for a year and 4 months and have only ever had one argument due to a misunderstanding. We have a beautiful, healthy, and loving relationship. Yesterday, while I was with him, I saw a Facebook post about a movie that one of his friends, whom we'll call AITBA, is obsessed with. I wanted to tag her, but her name didn't show up. I searched my profile and saw that I no longer had her as a friend. I checked my boyfriend's profile and she didn't show up at all. I sent my boyfriend a screenshot and asked him what was going on. I was very confused because the last time I saw her at a D&D session, everything seemed fine. We laughed, and when we said goodbye, she hugged me and wished me a Merry Christmas. I noticed my boyfriend was avoiding the topic. I asked him to check with her to see if she was upset or if she had deleted her account. He didn't want to say anything and asked me to just forget about it, but something in his tone told me he was hiding something. Yep, she blocked me. When my boyfriend finally told me what was going on, I was in shock and felt terrible. I pushed him for the full story and asked to see the conversation with her. A month ago, she messaged him asking, "Is everything okay with your girlfriend?" and whether I had been abusive towards him. My boyfriend replied that everything was fine and asked why she was asking that. She said, "At the last gathering, your girlfriend yelled at me, attacked me, was aggressive towards me, and even turned red with rage. I was worried she might be abusive towards you, but if everything's fine, that's great to hear." That's a lot to come out of left field.
That
wow.
is true. I'm like, do we have an unreliable narrator? Is the friend getting? I don't know what. Something is going on here.
We must search for the truth and let us continue on.
Let's figure this out.
At the gathering, she mentioned the 3 women in the group stayed at the table chatting about the Joker movie. I mentioned that there were many inaccuracies regarding mental health, such as how Lady Gaga's character couldn't possibly be a psychiatrist, as portrayed. Based on her profile and delusion, she wouldn't have been able to finish medical school, let alone complete a long specialty like psychiatry. The other girlfriend, let's call her Sophia, supported my argument, adding that her profile wouldn't have allowed her to even get into medical school. AITBA got furious, saying that if there are pedo priests, then there can also be crazy doctors, And if there are touchy doctors, there can also be delusional women practicing medicine. That's a false equivalency.
What does this have to do with that?
So we disagreed, and we should know, as Sophia is a doctor, and I have a PhD in psychology and psychotherapy. Coming from a place of knowledge, we explained to her that it wasn't possible. The argument didn't lead anywhere. It was already very late, around 1 a.m., so we said goodbye and left it at that, or so I thought.
Oh.
My boyfriend replied to Elba, saying that he didn't see any violence that night, but wanted to understand where she felt it happened. She responded that I yelled at her, and he replied, that's just how she is. She's effusive. Her whole family's like that. If they don't yell, they don't listen to each other. She lost her temper, and she can be crazy-ish at times, but everything is fine between us. Note on this point, what my boyfriend said really hurt me. Not only do I feel like he agreed with her, but he also spoke badly about my family, essentially called me crazy in my eyes, and didn't defend me from a direct attack on my character. At this point, I was on the verge of tears. I asked him to ask her why she blocked me anyway, even though I already knew the answer. I wanted to hear what she would say. Elba replied that she didn't feel she owed anyone an explanation, didn't have to answer to anyone, and that it was a long story. She typed for what felt like hours, and when she finally sent the message, I was stunned. Quote, your girlfriend is aggressive and violent. The last time we saw each other, she yelled at Sophia and her boyfriend and raised her voice to you. She's a terrible person, and I have no interest in interacting with her at all. She's your girlfriend, and you can do whatever you want, but I don't want her near me or my boyfriend. She's full of hatred and has anger issues that make her unfit to be around us. She's full of crap, and I don't tolerate someone yelling at my loved ones. She's crazy, and we think she's too aggressive and too violent. My boyfriend replied, why do you think that? And that was it. At that moment, I broke down crying, not just because of what she said, but also because during the previous gathering, she hugged me, wished me a Merry Christmas, and acted as if everything was fine. Additionally, my boyfriend didn't defend me or say anything in my favor. Instead, he wanted to, quote, understand why she viewed me that way. And also, the we part stood out. She made it seem like all my boyfriend's friends thought I was violent. While he was texting her, I wrote a message in the group chat we all shared and then left the group, deciding not to be a part of the D&D table anymore to avoid further conflict. Here's the message I sent. Quote, hi everyone. First of all, I want to apologize if at any point you felt any kind of aggression from me towards you. Please believe me, that was not my intention. Second, I just realized that I've been blocked on social media. And after talking with my boyfriend, he told me there was even a conversation where I was accused of being violent towards him. Knowing that more than one person in my boyfriend's close friend group sees me as a bad person or even violent towards him hurts me deeply. For everyone's well-being, I'm leaving the group. Please believe me that my boyfriend didn't want to tell me anything, and I never wanted this to happen. Sophia and her boyfriend, I deeply apologize if I offended you or spoke harshly. It was never my intention. Believe me, I've been crying nonstop and feel terrible. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope that the new campaign is a success, and I send you my best wishes. I have some thoughts about that, but before we get into that, we're going to keep going a little bit. Seconds after I sent that message, Elba sent a 5-minute voice note followed by another 7-minute one. In the voice note, she yelled at my boyfriend saying, why did she send that? That stupid girl is childish and spoiled. The right thing to do would have been to message me directly to apologize and fix things. But no, she prefers everyone to find out so she can play the victim. She's manipulative and selfish. What matters here is you and that this is your group of friends, and she's ruining it and being abusive. And of course, that manipulative bee cries. What else can she do but act offended? She's a terrible person, and that's why I don't want her near me. I don't even want to see her stupid face. If you want to keep her as your girlfriend, that's your problem. But I don't agree with it, and I hope that soon no one will want her around. So my main point was, hey girl, you're about to make things even worse. And not because you're a terrible person, but because the people that you're talking to, namely this person, Elba, is awful.
Yeah.
So trying to have this like amicable peace message of like, I'm removing myself.
Yep.
Sorry if I upset anyone. You're actually doing the opposite. You're stirring the pot even harder.
It kind of sounded like it was like the communication was happening in the group, at least from OP's message in.
And now at this point, if I'm privy to that voice message and the boyfriend isn't immediately like, hey, first of all, Elba, watch your mouth. Like, second of all, who do you think you're talking to?
Oh.
Third of all, watch your mouth again.
Oh.
If that's not the conversation, then I'm breaking up with the guy.
I think OP brought up a lot of good points. It's like, hey, my boyfriend didn't defend me. My boyfriend did, like, it was just like, oh, why? And like, yeah. One thing I was going to say, maybe OP did grow up in a household where communication, very strong communication styles were present. So maybe OP like communicates kind of more quote unquote aggressively than the average person. And that is maybe a bit jarring to some people, even though OP does not have any intention or like actual intended aggression behind it, I guess, so to say. But Elba's still wilding.
Well, let's see where this goes. I didn't ask my boyfriend what he replied to her because I couldn't stop crying. In the year I had been spending time with Elba, I never had an argument or conflict with her, and hearing her say all of that about me hurt deeply. Sophia and her boyfriend sent me private messages immediately after Elba's voice note. Sophia says, baby, what happened? When have you ever been aggressive? Honestly, I've never noticed anything like that. Please don't apologize. You really don't need to. You're important to me, and I hope we can continue being close. Even though we haven't known each other for very long, I already consider you a friend. You've helped me so much during my crises and supported me when my friend group broke apart. I care about you a lot, and I hope we stay friends. Yes, so this is just confirmation. Elba sucks. Sophia's boyfriend, we saw what you wrote, but we've never felt anything like what you're describing. If we did or said something to make you think otherwise, we're truly sorry. We've never felt any aggression or anything of the sort. Neither Sophia nor I think that way. On the contrary, you've always been a great friend to us. If you ever felt a bad attitude from us, please forgive us too. Let's continue being friends. We care about you a lot. Elba's boyfriend messaged my boyfriend saying he had to side with Elba, but admitted that everything had gotten out of hand and expressed how sorry he was about the situation. At this point, I felt better with the support messages from Sophia and her boyfriend. I found the courage to tell my boyfriend I can no longer be around Elba.
Yes.
I never want to be near her again, and you need to decide. Either you side with her and we end our relationship, or you side with me and you keep her away from me, and understand that I never want to see her again in my life. So, my boyfriend got up and started saying I needed to stop talking.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he said he was having a panic attack, that he couldn't make a decision like that, and that he never thought it would get to this point. He said he wasn't able to decide. I will continue reading before I get into my... I have thoughts.
Yes.
I have thoughts.
Yes.
But I will continue to read. I waited for him to calm down, gave him his anxiety pill and a glass of water. Note, I'm a psychotherapist and I specialize in helping people in crisis. And once we were in a better place, I simply said, it's late, you should go home. Think about it, and we'll finish this conversation another day when we're calmer. He told me he didn't want to leave me like that. By that time, I had been crying for over 2 hours, but I insisted that for his safety, he should go home before 11 p.m. and that we could pause the discussion for now. So, my thought, I understand not wanting to ever see this person again, right? And it's one of your boyfriend's best friends. So it's you're now putting your relationship between a rock and a hard place. When it's true, like, your boyfriend should defend you. But to now be like, well, I have to never see this person again, and if you're not going to facilitate that alongside me, then we're done.
Yeah.
That is not the right move in my head.
Well, I mean, he's like, with everything coming of light and with everything going on, he's actually having I don't know, maybe he's not having a panic attack, but it sounds like he's actually having a panic attack, and you can't think of that situation.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him that credit of like, take a breather. And what OP is saying, like, okay, this is a very tough conversation. I know this is a lot to process, and you cannot process any of it at this moment. Take a breather. We'll talk about this some other time, or when you actually are back to reality. I think he needs more, like, what's going on here between the both of them, of Elba and OP.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, W move on OP for realizing, like, okay, we need to just pause. Let me help, then double down on it, right? And I think that the way that OP framed it was like she could have. I think she could have said something along the lines of like, honestly, I'm really hurt, and like, you know, I know this is an extreme ask, and I'm not trying to like make you choose or whatever, but like I almost feel like I want to ask you to stop seeing Elba or something like that. Like I feel like you can essentially communicate very close to the same message, or at least the way you're feeling. Like you can tell someone how you're feeling without telling them you have to do this, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And to be clear, I think somebody did comment, and I think it's right that she didn't actually say that he can't see Elba anymore. Just that he has to keep Elba away from OP. Basically, she said that she doesn't want anything to do with Elba, and that he would have to be okay with that and kind of play the keep away game. So it's he would have to facilitate, like, oh, I got to make sure that Elba's not coming over to the house, or that if we go somewhere that Elba.
I totally understand that. Yeah, that's. I think I misunderstood.
I still don't like that though, because I still feel like it puts too much power in Elba's hands.
It does.
It's like it gives too much power to Elba. Elba should have nothing to do with your relationship. OP needs to be able to walk into a room with Elba present and completely ignore her existence. That's it. I don't know. That's it to me. And I know that not everyone's going to agree with that. I know that some people are going to be like, I mean, I think it's what you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But in my head, it's just like, how are you going to let someone else dictate where you can be? Do you know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you.
That's where, anyway. I told my mom about it, about the whole situation. And she's on my side, saying that my boyfriend didn't defend me. He should have set boundaries with Elba, and that I'm in the right. Sophia and her boyfriend also make me feel like I didn't do anything Elba is accusing me of. But at this point, I need to ask, am I the a-hole for asking my boyfriend to defend me, stand up for me, and never put me in front of Elba again? No, I wouldn't say you're an a-hole for that.
No.
No, I wouldn't say you're an a-hole for that.
Yeah.
Maybe I might disagree with the last part. I agree with the rest of it, and I don't think you're an a-hole. Here's an update. Thanks to everyone who commented. I read all your comments and upvoted them to show that I genuinely took every word into account. I deeply appreciate your perspective. It has helped me through a very difficult and painful time. Let's get to what everyone wants to know. Last night, we sat down to talk calmly. Keep in mind that more than 4 days had passed since the incident before we had this conversation. That day, the day of the incident, I asked him to stop responding to her, as it was only giving her more ammunition to keep attacking me, and I didn't want him talking about me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That same day, I realized he kept replying to her, and I knew he continued. We sat down in the living room, and I said, first of all, I want you to know I'm not angry. I'm sad, and I want us to talk and figure out how we can fix this. I love you, and I want to know if you're okay and if you feel ready to talk. He told me he hadn't eaten because he was anxious about our talk, but otherwise he was fine and wanted to talk too. I first asked if he could show me what he had replied to Elba over the past few days. When he showed me, I saw that Elba kept sending hateful messages about me, and my boyfriend replied, not by defending me, but by validating her with things like, why do you feel that way? I'm sure she didn't mean it like that. Let me talk to her. That's bad. There were several voice notes of her attacking me and countless messages. I had blocked her a day before seeing him. Apparently, she tried to contact me via text to clear things up. She sent him screenshots of her messages and to me and said, she's immature and childish. Why did she block me? She has zero emotional intelligence and is manipulative. Dude, defend your girlfriend. Break up. I'm breaking up.
Yeah, I gave this guy the benefit of the doubt, and he had 4 days to, like, and he's still not defending anything. He's like, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you, Elba. Like, that sounds okay. Okay.
Like, maybe.
My friend accused me of being a bully, so I exposed their bullying online.
It's not me, it's you.
I, 19 female, recently had a traumatic falling out with a friend. We'll call them K. I don't like the letter names, so let's say Kim.
Cool, Kim.
Kim. Kim and I were friends for almost a year, and we were the kind of friends that told each other everything. Even things we weren't proud of. Ooh. One of those things was that I broke up with my first boyfriend over text message.
I feel like we're Kim now, because she's telling us everything.
Yeah, we're...
Ooh.
Thanks. We had only been dating a few months, and neither of us knew what we were doing. The whole relationship was basically just a title we didn't do much with other than that. During our relationship, I realized I was lesbian. Oh, and I felt horrible that I was losing feelings for him.
Ooh.
By the way, this comes from user Different Intention 12 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I was an emotional wreck, so a phone call was out of the question. We didn't have any classes together in school, and I couldn't drive to his house, so the only option I had was to break up over text. I feel like
I see that in that moment, that felt like the best thing. You probably could have waited till you calmed down and maybe called him.
phone call.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone gets broken up with over text, and sometimes people break up with you. You're the one that breaks up over text too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
do what you want done to you. You know?
Yeah.
I felt absolutely horrible, and the next time I saw him, I apologized profusely. He was cool with it, since I had explained in the message why I did it. He and I are still good friends, and I try to keep the fact that I ended it over text a secret unless I truly trust a person. I feel like it's not that big.
That's
of a,
not bad.
It's not that bad.
If you ended over text and ghost someone, that's bad.
If you ended over text and ghost someone, or if you like cheated on them,
yeah,
and then like was like telling everyone you cheated on them, but the partner and you kept
I would not feel guilty about this whatsoever.
Yeah,
because you probably wrote out everything you were feeling.
Yeah, especially
whenever I hear I broke up with someone over text, it was like, I'm breaking up with you. That's it.
That's it. Block. But the fact that even
you wrote it out and then talked later,
and he said, "It's cool. It happens.
That's
Breakups
great.
happen," and I didn't see it. He probably was like, if it was just for a title,
that's phenomenal.
So great. Anyways, he has a new girlfriend now, and she and I are best friends. He treats her so well, and I can't help but smile seeing how much they love each other. That's great. End of story. Happy ending. Amazing.
Let's go.
Kim recently started dating a school friend of mine, who we will call R. Let's call it Rex. Rex is 2 years younger than me, and he and I met through a mutual friend from middle school. He and I were really close, constantly calling after school to play games and sitting with each other at lunch. Some important information to remember is that he and I have a very specific greeting with each other. Every morning when we see each other at school, we run at each other and try to give the other person the biggest hug we can muster.
That's cute.
It's an intense greeting.
Wow.
It's always been a competition between us to see who can give the better hugs each day.
Aw.
Sadly, now that I have graduated and started college, he and I don't see each other anymore, and our calls become less frequent as my part-time job happens right after their school day. Some last-minute info before we start the drama. Kim, Rex, and I contact each other through Discord. I have the same Discord account on 2 devices, my phone and my tablet. I don't turn my tablet on silent. That's important. Now on to the drama. What you're here for.
Ooh.
A few weeks ago, I was helping my mom find some paperwork so she could do her taxes. I turned my phone on silent and closed the Discord tab on my phone. I happen to keep it open on my device while in other apps, so it constantly looks like I'm online. A few minutes into helping my mom, I heard a noise coming from my room and just shrugged it off, as my Alexa probably saying I had a notification. I ignored it and kept searching. After we finally found all the paperwork, I looked at my phone, which had been face down on the table. I was welcomed with a couple Discord messages and a missed call, which was the noise I heard from my room. It was coming through my tablet. I opened the messages to see that Kim and Rex had made a group message for the 3 of us and had tried calling me. As I was reading through the messages, I was very confused, as Rex was saying horrible things about me, accusing me of bullying Kim.
Ooh.
I was extremely confused because Kim and I had been on a call playing a video game just that morning, and Kim said nothing about this. I have told Kim multiple times to be open with me if I said something that bothers them, because I have an impulsive disorder that makes me unable to realize that some things I can say make people uncomfortable. Yeah, Riley. All of my friends know this. And Kim has been pretty good about it, and every time it happens, I apologize profusely, so I was unsure what Rex was talking about. I continued reading. As Rex continued to send me messages, he accused me of bullying, mental abuse, threatening, and a bunch of other things that are not appropriate for this subreddit.
Ooh.
Rex seemed livid, and I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere with him, so I opened my private chat with Kim and asked them what was happening. They said, and I quote, "You know what you did? And this is the price you are going to pay."
Huh?
Huh?
Weird.
Funky. Here's where I got suspicious. When I asked Kim for proof of any of the things I was being accused of, they blocked me without responding. I, still confused and now visibly distraught, went back to the group chat and sent a message asking Rex what this was about because I know for a fact I didn't do any of the things I was accused of. He proceeded to gaslight me and ended his multi-paragraph rant with, I hope you rot in HE double hockey sticks.
What?
I really hope he said HE double hockey sticks.
That is insane.
And I have better things to spend my time on than your sorry excuse of an existence. Whoa, this guy.
Yeah, like getting manipulated too.
What is going on here?
Oh, dude, he's that Kim and them are in cahoots.
But when and how and why now?
Who knows? Probably because of the hugs. Kim wants some of that love Rex hug.
Kim gave a better hug to Rex.
Ooh, and now he's like mad that OP never could. Wow.
At this point, I was in tears, and my mother came over to make sure I was okay. I gave her my phone and left to calm down in the bathroom. When I returned about 20 minutes later, she handed my phone back and said that she had sent a message to them and to let her know if either of them said anything else. Rex still hasn't spoken to me, but about a week ago, I got an unexpected message from Kim. They asked if I could take down a video on my TikTok account with their face in it, saying it made them uncomfortable. I said yes, it wasn't a big deal. Then Kim started talking about what Rex had said. They continued to add to the list of accusations, calling me a boyfriend stealer. Do we not recall?
What?
Do we not recall?
But like,
Do we not
OP
recall?
doesn't want a boyfriend.
Do we not recall at the
Boyfriend
very beginning?
doesn't like having boyfriends.
OP is a lesbian.
Yeah.
And some other things not appropriate for this subreddit. Then she said something that really upset me. No wonder you are such a horrible friend. I would expect nothing less from someone who broke up with their boyfriend over text. Oh.
Come on.
That's personal. That's deep and personal.
That is pretty deep and personal.
I started crying and made my way to the bathroom to calm down. I messaged back that I was a lesbian, trying to defend myself, and she responded with, yeah, tell that to blank ex-boyfriend's name. I started to get angry and said that she had absolutely no right to shame me for my past decisions, especially since my ex and I are on good terms and he was okay with it. She then sent one word that nearly broke me. Oops. Oops.
Oh, I see now.
Oops. What
Boy.
Tell me.
Oops, like. All right, actually, take that back. I don't see now. She's like, oopsie. Oopsie. I didn't mean to.
I was livid at this point. I messaged back, oops. That's all you had to say is oops. She followed by saying, LOL. So this is so funny.
Dude, she's just trolling. Get out.
Basically making fun of something I considered a trauma because of how upset it made me and how it's made me scared of loving anyone and risking doing it to someone else. Kim finished off the messages calling me some not family-friendly names and saying this. No wonder you are losing all your friends. You are a pathetic human being.
Oh my gosh.
This is where is this coming from?
What?
Kim then said I was dead to them and blocked me once more.
What?
But you know what? We will never block you. Live every weekday, 3 p.m. PST. Just join us. Just type the profile.
Stab it. Dude, what is Kim getting into? Why is she doing this?
There was no context in this story where Kim and Rex are like calling you out, other than like you're a boyfriend stealer.
I think Kim likes Rex, and so that's why she's getting Rex all riled up.
But
because she didn't know, it sounded like Kim didn't know she was a lesbian. Rex probably didn't know. Maybe I would assume that they knew. I would assume that they're friends. They tell each other this. But with what I'm given and what assumptions I'm going to make, that's what I'm going to do.
I guess that's the only reasonable one. Like,
yeah,
this was like a tripod. Like it was like the three of them that are very close. I can see Kim and Rex getting together, but then why would they just be like, let's eliminate OP?
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know. Let's continue. Here's where I might be the jerk.
Keep going.
I was so angry that I decided to not remove any videos with them in it. And instead, I spent hours taking screenshots of the harassment, making sure to blur out their usernames, and posted them to every single social media site I used, including my YouTube channel with 12.7 thousand subscribers.
Ooh.
That's a lot. Good for you, OP. I was too angry to even realize what I was doing. And now that I'm in a better state mentally, it's been eating me up inside. I feel kind of guilty for being that petty. I feel like I did that just out of anger and that it was immature of me. But another part of me thinks that my decision is justified for the harassment that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
On top of that, more than half of our mutual friends are refusing to speak to me. What?
Oh, wow.
What did they say? I want to know.
I need to know. I need to see the full story here.
Yeah, I want to know what they said.
Yeah.
Everyone I have brought this up to are biased or refusing to comment on the situation to stay out of it, which I respect. So I asked people of Reddit, am I the bad apple for refusing to take down the video and instead exposes them on the internet? I feel like this is just wait. I'm gonna see if there's any update.
I'm all for a get it ready with me exposing people. So no.
I wish there was an explanation. Did you get an explanation out of this?
No,
Why
I'm
they
just
called you
assuming
out?
Kim was jealous and wanted her ex. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know if we're getting both sides of the story here.
I don't either.
And I'm just like, what should you do? I feel like you should talk to them and get the full on, like.
But you can't.
They blocked you, but like.
She can't do anything, dude. All she can do is post this video and hopefully it gets millions of views and she gets a lot from AdSense. That's what I hope.
And makes the drama into her breadwinner.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like I'm missing a lot of context here before I give any input. Like, they blocked you for no absolute reason.
Yeah.
If this is the bare bones case, then yeah, post the video. Post the video. You have every right to. They asked you to do something that, you know, you're like, okay, I'll do it. But then they're like treating you like garbage and not really talking to you and communicating with you. And why you're getting treated like this. And they're roping in all your friends.
Insane, dude.
Yeah, post the video. Post the video. But me, I need more context of what the hell is actually going on.
Yeah,
what
what's
the
going on
HE
here?
double hockey sticks is going on. Because
I don't like it.
I feel like we're missing a chunk of what's going on here.
We don't know their side.
We don't know their side, and there is a reason why they did it. We just don't know.
I don't think we ever will.
We got blindsided.
But that's our story.
My friend's fiance cheated on her while seriously ill, so I'm helping her get back on her feet.
I feel like you should sweep that man off his feet and into a shallow grave.
Sweep him, and not in the winning way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been waiting for so long for a story to post here, and oh boy, it's a crazy one.
Give it to us.
It is not mine, but I do have my friend's permission to post about it here. So I am a pediatric nurse, and friendships built during crazy shifts are ride or die. By the way, this comes from Candy Andy, and you can submit your own story on the r/OK Storytime subreddits. So introducing Anissa. I trained her, and through horrible bosses, understaffed shifts, and loads of fast food between calls, we became best friends.
Nice.
4 years ago, Anissa met a guy, let's call him Kevin, and they got engaged about 1.5 years ago. I never really got to know him well, but didn't like his vibe. We are usually a fun and loud group, and other partners adapt quite well. However, Kevin kept to himself, barely talked, and didn't show any signs of humor. In truth, I always thought that she would grow bored of him one day and just leave him. She seemed happy, though, so I never said anything. Not my monkey, not my circus.
Mm-hmm.
So last summer, the two of them bought a house in a small town in the middle of nowhere. Like, nowhere. Like, there's nothing there. Mind you, they lived in the city before. Nobody got their choice, but again, she seemed happy. Anyways, so they buy the house in the morning. In the evening, she started feeling weird about some bruises and skin irritation, which got worse over the day. To be safe, Anissa checks in with the hospital after some back and forth, and they agree to draw some blood. That night, she was diagnosed with leukemia. And instead of moving into their new house, she moved into the hospital for the next 3 months.
Oh,
Tragic.
That is the worst timing ever.
Yeah, and what do we know about terminal illnesses and fidelity?
Yep.
It's bad. It's bad.
Oh, God.
Well, now Opie says, now that's not the bad part.
When the
being-
terminal illness isn't the bad part.
for being in the 3 months of the hospital is not the bad part. You see, the bad part is that while she had to stay in the hospital for 12 weeks, Kevin decided he was a little lonely.
You got to get some stress relief, you know?
Apparently, a stress ball was not enough for him to squeeze. Yeah, he's a great guy. So he signed up for dating websites and went off with other women while Anissa was being treated and had to come to terms with a very severe illness. In case you were wondering, no, he never visited her in the hospital in 3 months. His excuse, he doesn't like hospitals. Don't like him. I don't like him.
I mean, maybe if he realized that a lot of health workers are down for a romp in the sack, maybe he would
Maybe he
think
would
of it
gander.
as, yeah, maybe he would go over there.
He would have been flooring it.
Yeah, he would have been like,
Speeding.
I need to be there right now.
I'll be there 24/7, 365. Leaving a pause here for you all to yell, the audacity. Miss Jaybird says, glad they got it early. Honestly, that's what it seems like, which is good. I mean, Opie is writing this story. And then Sam Chan says, is the boyfriend named Sam, by the way? Sam Chan, I'm going to hopefully assume.
I hope not. I will have no more Sam slander in these stories.
We got to put a stop to that. Now, 7 months into treatment, she found out because she found the credit card receipt with the fees from the dating sites.
Dude, how are you that dumb?
Yeah.
How are you that dumb?
Yeah.
Being like, oh, medical bill. Only
Tinder
pants.
Plus.
Tinder Plus. Oh, no.
Farmers Only full plot edition.
Make it clap.squish. Huh?
Riley, is that available?
Oh, no. We're getting so many domains.
InYourDaddies.com.
Oh, God. So he went on a long weekend with his affair partner and told her to pack her things and get out of the house. Did I mention they had a dog? He was also keeping the dog. Since she was in the middle of chemotherapy, she didn't fight because she simply couldn't. She moved in with me, and I love having her here. It's your early 30s funny women shared apartment. He keeps tearing down walls in the house and not building anything back up without telling her. That's
what?
He just keeps tearing down all the.
He's destroying everything, including their relationship.
I mean, is gonna collapse like the relationship? That's what this is sounding like. The lawyers were very clear. If she sells now, she will lose a lot of money, and she will have to pay speculation tax because they just bought the house and are selling it again so quickly. So.
Speculation tax?
They're taxing everyone out here.
It's everyone's getting these taxes. So he is super confident that she won't sell. This is where I come in. I am a petty person. I was born that way. So I got to work. I got her a better lawyer and made sure that she had a great home. But most importantly, we are currently raising money any way we can to get his sorry booty out. Because no, he doesn't have the income or savings to buy out her part of the house. Now, before you come at me for being a bad person, he cannot afford the mortgage on the house. He refused to let her buy the house from him because he wouldn't leave, and he moved in with his affair partner. So he is racking up debt on the mortgage, and she is liable and has to cover it while she's going through chemo. What? So you guys help me be petty times 1,000 and share the story. If you want to support her, you can donate at Help Asana Fight Cancer by Joanna. However, she is also just happy about any support and love she can get right now. I will update you on how this goes. Love you all, petty potatoes. We have an update. What do we think is going to happen?
I don't know. I hope she somehow gets a house back.
That would be great.
That would be a win.
Yeah, because he can't even pay for it anyways. And I'm also, I guess technically the debt he's racking up is with her because they're
still
married.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that
sucks. That sucks. But you got to, I feel like even if he's racking up debt, I think just getting yourself out of that situation as soon as possible. It's like,
yeah.
I think you're only going to have more debt the longer you stay with him, right?
Yeah, and if your finances are already effed, might as well make your mental health not effed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get out and save ourselves the trouble there. But we got an update. So good news first. We love that. My friend has received offers for free legal advice, which is awesome.
Well, let's go.
She's so happy, thanks to everyone who commented on the original post. Also, her ex-fiance has seen the GoFundMe and is furious. Kevin now believes that she can cover some of his shares and his costs since she's raising money. We shut this down super quick. since it was his wish to keep the house and the dog and have his affair practically move in. He is entitled to nothing since they broke off the engagement, and they were never married. So they never officially got legally married.
Oh,
Thank God.
Thank freaking God.
Because that would have sucked.
Good gravy. And yeah, as Cheryl says, not married, they're engaged. Hallelujah. He was also unhappy with how he was portrayed and claimed we were being untruthful. However, since he cheated, he has communicated everything to her over texts, so we got receipts. Anyways, her GoFundMe has been going well so far, but obviously keep sharing the story anywhere you can. And we have update number 2.
Hit me with it, Johnny.
Hey guys, I'm going to give you a quick update on Anissa and Kevin. If you haven't read my original thread, here's the tea. Kevin cheated on Anissa while she was out going through chemo and got her out of the house by bringing his mistress constantly, so Anissa temporarily moved in with me. The update is that Anissa was recently released from hospital and finished her last IV chemotherapy.
Congrats.
Yay! Let's go. Her immune system is still down, and she's currently fighting a cold, so keep her in your thoughts. Hopefully, she will get through this just fine. She is still in the hospital twice a week for checkups, and it will take a bone marrow sample from the 17th of this month to see if the IV chemo got rid of the cancer for good.
And we're hoping.
We are hoping. Now about Kevin. Since we started the GoFundMe, his first reaction was to ask for a portion of the money we collected so far, which is not happening.
Kevin, where are you getting this audacity?
Dude,
give us some. It must be lovely to go through life with this kind of kingly attitude.
Just
entitlement.
Purely gallivanting and just collecting anything you want along the way with no care.
Must be nice, Kevin. King Kevin, they call him.
Oh, my boy forged some nuts, I'll tell you that much. After being pissed about this, for a while, he changed course. He suddenly owns 40,000 pounds in shares, which he wanted to sell to bust her out. He talked to his lawyers because he was sure it was enough and was basically laughed at by them because obviously it isn't. His income is still too low and barely covers the monthly rates of the mortgage. So now he's moving in with his mistress for good so she can help him pay for the mortgage. Regarding the $40,000, Anissa has done the math during their time together. They first started saving on his account and then on their shared one, which he would routinely empty into his own account. So everything that was left over of her salary every month went straight to him.
Oh, so he's like stealing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This gets worse and worse.
Wow. By the way, if you want to drain the best content imaginable and pour it into your ear holes, well, look no further than Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite pod app, and search OK Storytime. Listen to the full episode. Stories just like this, ladies and gentlemen. But we are quickly reaching the end of the story. I mean, it seems like Kevin is going to get his comeuppance. OP and Anissa are having an amazing sisterly bond, helping each other. Also, shout out to OP. Been an angel in this situation. I mean, I don't know what you think, Sam. I think at this point, we just hope and pray Kevin continues to downfall and Anissa just rises like the phoenix she is.
I mean, just stay far away from that man.
Just run.
Just run. And I don't know. Things are looking up.
Things are looking up. Let's see if we got more positivity in the last bit of the story here. Let's find out. So don't bash her. She knows not to do this ever again. But overall, she transferred about $35,000 to him during their time together. 35, and this is pounds, by the way. So this is like probably more like 40 grand USD.
Yeah,
that is.
Oh my god,
that is crazy. So we're guessing that's the money that he owns in shares, but we cannot prove it. Other than that, he has been extra nice to her out of fear of her GoFundMe picking up more steam, and she will sell the house. So he's been trying to get her to promise she won't, which she doesn't and won't because she still would like to cut all ties. She's an angel, though, and keeps being friendly to him. She's starting to feel at home at my place, well, our place, and that's great to see. And that is the end.
Whew. Well, it seems like OP is in a much, OP's friend is in a much better place
on the up
than
and up.
The beginning. So
we love to see it. We hope for more.
Yeah, we hope for more. Not all these stories have such a beautiful little bow ending.
That is true.
That is true. But what a lovely story to end our episode on.
Yeah, put a bow on the end.
Put a bow. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.